Hi guys, Scott Speed here, welcoming you to the Volkswagen Beetle GRC car here in iRacing. It is so fun. Wanted to give you guys some pointers around the track here. This is the actual track that we drove in Daytona. It looks unbelievable. When you see the footage from the onboard of the actual track, it's crazy how similar they got it. Give you some tips on the car. First thing you're gonna notice is this thing is a 2-liter turbo engine that has over 600 horsepower. And it is geared for acceleration. So you're gonna go through the gearbox very quickly. That's the first thing you know. As soon as you leave the pits, you're gonna be like, wow. You're just gonna have to upshift gears very rapidly. And then you're gonna get on the brakes for the first time and you're gonna notice this big momentum shift. As the car is gonna lean over, it's gonna have a ton of weight transfer, and that's because we run really soft springs in this thing to get the traction that you're gonna need in the dirt. Once you get through the first corner, you're probably going to realize that as soon as you touch the throttle, it doesn't really want to turn anymore. You've got to be aware that four-wheel drive likes to stop very quickly and it likes to go very quickly. It doesn't like to corner so much. To the first corner, you definitely want to wait until you're kind of straight to get on the gas, and that'll bring you up to the really fun section. And you get to experience dirt in a four-wheel drive rally car for the first time, and it's incredible. The thing you're going to notice is that the car wants to just continue going in whatever direction it started in. So when you approach these corners, you're really going to have to turn quite before the corner, very early, and the car is going to develop this momentum to it. It's still very important to hit the apex and to be very tidy and clean, but you're going to have to do that with the momentum of the car. And then you got this nice jump that is really fun. One thing to keep in mind when you're in the air is if you hit the brakes, the front end will come down. If you hit the gas, the front end will come up a little bit. So you got to control, kind of like an airplane, the pitch of the car in the air so you're kind of flying straight. And as soon as you land here, you're going to want to start heading left. You're going to give it a big input and start it sliding to the left. And you're just going to be constantly trying to slow this thing down to make this corner, because it's very, very slippery and it's a very tight corner. And the preferred line, believe it or not, is still going to be right here at the apex. Once you get out of here, the next couple corners are relatively simple, typical tarmac corners. Not a lot to these stuff. This is all flat out. And yeah, let's see what a full lap looks like.
Another of OSR's quite well variety of series that they have on offer. Of course, the V8s being another one, and looking forward to a pretty exciting night of racing. We had the first heat, or first round of heats just run then. We had some really nice racing in the one that I jumped in there. Some really awesome close Port Racing, a very close finish of under 300ths of a second as well. So it's looking like this should shape up to be a great night of racing to get us started on Rallycross, I suppose, and we can actually get our hands in, or our hands dirty, so to speak, and see what these cars are like in action in close proximity in these battles with some of the best drivers in Australia. Joining me in commentary tonight is Mr. Cameron Dance. Say hello, sir.
Yes, hello, Thomas. It's going to be a very, very good night of racing, I reckon, especially with this new Rallycross format, with all the heats and last chance qualifiers and all that sort of stuff that has been thrown at us recently in the new iRacing updates. So it's going to be quite an interesting night to see who's actually going to have made it through to the A main.
Yes, for sure. It's going to really be fascinating to see who excels in this rallycross format and who maybe less so. I have seen a couple of guys already who, maybe in other classes or other cars, not quite as far up the field, but in these rallycross cars are really excelling in this format of racing. A couple of names that are still as dominant here as they are in other series that we know of, so a couple of non-surprises in that regard. But I think there'll be a couple of guys here who may not usually see up towards the front of the field to be fighting right up there, but track here for this first round is Daytona Long, so the longer format or layout of the circuit for Rallycross, and it is quite a fun track. There's a couple of spots as we saw in that race there, Cam, where you've got to really watch out for either the tire bundles or the walls.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very technical but a very quick track as well. You've got to really make sure you've got the car placed in the correct position, or as you said, you'll end up in either a tire bundle or a concrete wall at some stage. So it's going to be very interesting to see how precise these guys are going to be in the server we'll go into and see what actually happens.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's as we said. I mean, being Rallycross, kind of like the Knoxville Nationals we had last night. If you haven't watched that on YouTube, you can watch it again on there. Wink, wink, on VX Online. But same sort of thing there with the way that dirt racing is on oval and in Rallycross format. It's always such an up and down sort of way of racing. You're not really sure where you are in the end. You can be at the back of the field 1 minute and then up towards the front in about 5-10 laps if you just keep your nose clean. And rallycross is no different in that regard. It's all about precision and consistency. Obviously, being out of battle in close proximity is a key factor as well. But just if you can keep it out of the wall and out of other people's way, basically, you can do really well. As we saw in the heat we're watching, then there were a couple of guys who basically just kept their noses clean and they were able to get a good first result here tonight. So it's going to be a fascinating little evening of racing here, and hopefully it'll have some really nice battles. I think we've got a lot of very talented drivers in the field for this first night of Rallycross. And I mean, we've seen it, haven't we, Cam? How popular these cars have been. It seems like the sort of the hype is almost legitimate, isn't it? Because these things are just a bundle load of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a lot of people in the past few days grinding Rallycross and just absolutely hammering it day after day, and in
Mm,
fact, probably race after race, actually.
yeah.
So it's been quite actually a lot of hype around it, and it's actually turned out quite well. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of participation turns out to be come a few months down the road,
Mm,
whether it turns out to be as good as it is at the moment, or whether it actually does die down a little bit down to the level that Dirt Oval was. So it's going to be
mm.
very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was the thing I was thinking as well. I've been watching this when I've been seeing the hype that's happened and a lot of people jumping in here initially. Obviously, Dirt Oval had the same thing. Obviously, when they first came out, this big new thing with the big sprint cars as well. Had that initial draw and then it sort of petered out and it's got down to the level it's sort of been at since that initial hype for the first sort of month or so. Interesting to see if Rallycross does do that too. I don't know if it will to the same extent. We'll see because it is such just a wild form of racing. Not one I'll be personally doing too much, mostly because I'm just not that good at Rallycross at all. So I just go on, you know what, not my cup of tea. Good fun though, good fun as a barrel last for me. But no, it's looking like it should be a great night of racing. We do actually have the results as well from the first heat sessions, so we can go through them real quick here while we wait for the second heat rounds to be put up. So going in serve one, we had, I believe it's Michael Bales winning that one from C. Simpson in second. Dane Warren was third, and Joshua Rogers was fourth, five laps down. So it looks like, if anything, there may have only been about three finishes in that race. Looked like it must have been a pretty intense race with the amount of people that were lapped down. But still, as we mentioned as we were talking about in the format beforehand, just getting the finish is crucial. Whether you're 9 laps down, 8 lap down, whatever it is, as long as you get a finish and you're not sort of last, that's the key in this format, which I'll go into detail in a minute. I think I'll just look through and try and highlight some results that stood out to me. Hampstead won in server 2. I guess we'll go top 3 for each server. So Hampstead won in Heat 1 in server 2. Then Beau Albert, one of our fellow V8's online commentators, was second. And then Simon Black, who admins, of course, runs this series, getting a third in his heat. It's a great result there for Simon. Then we had Daniel Ackland winning server 3. Zach Radich winning in second in server 3. And then Corey Ott, another of our V8's online commentators, running at the podium in that one. He was one of the guys who just kept his nose clean in that race, and he was able to get a good result out of it. So before we had Michael Healy winning that one, so it's interesting to see Michael quick in these as well. We obviously seen him in the EMR Industries Super Cup doing really well in the Porsches, and is a very, very quick driver in them and in the V8s, showing his stuff here in RallyCross as well. Trotman getting second, and then Brody Whitmore rounding out the podium with Reese Gardner just outside in fourth. So we're keeping an eye, of course, on Reese again, another of our V8 Online commentators. So a lot of V8 Online members loving the RallyCross stuff as well. So we're keeping an eye on them throughout the night. Server 5, it was Scott Narth winning that one with Elle Burns in second and Brookfield in third. And then the final server we had in that first round of heats was Giacomin winning his one in that server 6 from Wayne C. Burke in second. The 7/10ths too, a nice little battle, but looks for the win in that particular server. And then S. Harris in third, and that was the top 3 for the 6 servers there in the first round of heats. And so the way it's going to be working is the last 2 finishes in each of these races will be demoted to the last chance qualifier. And essentially, once we have a full field for the last chance qualifier and enough so to get into that final, then we'll have the last chance qualifier run, which of course the guys who do well on that can then get into the final, and then we'll have the final. It's essentially going to be working like that throughout the night, and we'll be picking races throughout the night to broadcast, because of course we can't show all of them because they're all running at the same time as they go in their rounds. So we'll just pick one that we go to, and we'll be broadcasting that for you. So yeah, big ramble of results there, Cap. But I mean, just from those results, there's a lot there that's to look at, isn't there? Because there's a lot of guys there who, I mean, you got a lot of the usual suspects up there, but there's a few guys who we saw in our server that we were watching, and also just in those results who a little bit further up than they may be in other cars, so showing the speciality Rallycross has.
Yeah, absolutely. There's actually quite a bit of mixed results throughout the heats, ranging from guys you'd expect to be up the front of the field, actually finishing further down, whether it's due to having an accident in the race or not quite having the pace to be competitive. It's definitely shuffled the field up a little bit. I mean, you've got people like Ashley Lear, Tom Callahan, Emily Jones, and Brayden Maitland, and Jamie McKnight, and all those sort of guys. They're actually further down the field than you'd think. So it's going to be very interesting to see actually what's going to happen come the end of the night, and actually who's going to make the final race.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, as we watch there, it's if you have an incident or something in the races, that can really hamper your chances of doing well in them. So we'll probably see this all kind of iron out and all be a lot clearer by the sort of second or third round of races, when people maybe have a chance to have a clean race if they haven't had already. So we'll be able to see their true form here in the Rallycross format. And yeah, it should be, as we said, I'm really keen for tonight's racing, especially the final, because as I said, we got some really talented drivers here taking part in this first week of OSR Rallycross. Including quite a number of V8s Online as well, which is great to see. A bunch of the guys here at V8s Online getting involved in the Rallycross races. And I guess that's a good segue to bring in Corey Ott, who was with me last night for the Nashville Nationals, commentating alongside me for that. And with Jay's discretion, although he's just left the thing. So thanks for that, Corey. Reckon my segue. Great stuff. But we'll talk to him later on. He'll probably pop back and we can have a little chat to Corey just about his first heat. For, as I said, he got third in his first round heat there, which is a good result for him. Kept his nose clean and has really benefited from that in that first round of racing. Obviously, Jay Kenny, by the way, I didn't get around to mention that at the start. Jay Kenny is per usual, running the buttons in the background and doing the overlays and all the broadcasting stuff in the background for us while we do the commentating. So awesome job again from Jay, as per usual, doing his usual top-notch performances. And yeah, it should be a great night of racing. So hopefully now Corey's back in there. Hopefully we can bring him in, and we can have a little word to him about his top 3 result to start the night of racing, which is really a great way to start. This first running of RallyCross in a league scenario. So Corey, I guess just run us through your race for you. We were watching without the broadcast going. We were watching before we went live to sort of watching your progress. But how was it for you?
Oh, well, third split, got really good qualifying time in to get into the heat or the race, but I did pretty well. I did get a little bit of someone decided to try and send it into turn 1 at the start, but it was just after that it was just casual run around, do your 2 joker laps, and hopefully you get in front of someone and get that second place, which sadly I did, and I got third. So if I'm having a good guess, we could have top 2 from each split make it into the final, which sadly I won't make. So
There's still more chances, as we said throughout as we were mentioning with the format. Obviously, the more heats to come, there's another chance to maybe get that top 2 and maybe sneak in to the final. If not, obviously having a chance with the last chance qualifier. But I mean, we were just talking before about the sort of the being Rallycross throwing up a bit of a different performance sort of from different people. Maybe having people a bit further up than normal or further down than they would be in other series. I mean, how has it been for you from that regard, seeing guys who you'd be used to in certain spots in other series being maybe either further up or further down in Rallycross?
Yeah, well, especially one of my teammates, Shannon, and he's sort of, I'm always been fast him, and I was like, when I had my control, I was like, oh, I'll get a wheel and I'll be faster than you straight away. But I've only gained a second or just over a second than what I have on controller than what I've got on the wheel today. And he's really surprised me the pace he had, but sadly he got wrecked. He got wrecked out in the race, so he was doing well, but like you said before, the amount of people that it's basically the whole list is being backflipped and is now upside down to what we usually see. So, which I like to see once in a while. Slow people getting their chance and fame in the spotlight. Hopefully, they stay up there and last.
Yeah, well, yeah, as we say, yeah, that's Shannon's one of them. There's a couple of I've seen who, are usually not really as far up there in other cars, but obviously Rallycross suiting their style of driving, and obviously must be just a discipline that they just prefer. It just suits them, their driving style better. Which, as I said, with the way Rallycross is being a mixture of road and rallying, it can be one that throws in a bit of an oddball in that regard. But I guess with while we're waiting for the second lot to come up, I mean, you're just going to hope to keep these, maybe try and get the top 3s and all that, and podiums coming, and maybe if not, get straight in, try and just get in through the last chance, perhaps.
Yeah, all I'm going to do at the moment is just qualify, get a good lap in, and then just do 10 laps of consistency, not get into anybody's road. And you've got, instead of being 1 joker lap, you've got 2 there. So it's basically you've got a get out of jail free card, and you've got another get out of jail free card if you're stuck behind someone, which is good. I like it, but yeah, it's sort of, I'm sort of going to make my way back up again. So hopefully I do make it into the final. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, thank you for coming in, Corey. Awesome to have a chat with you there, and I'm sure good luck for the rest of the heats tonight and the racing tonight, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you very much. So yeah, there you go. That was Corey Ott jumping in for a interview there after his first heats there earlier on, as we're still waiting on the. Oh, there we go. His sessions had just come up. Jay just saving me there. I was about to say we're still waiting on him, but just been put up. There we go, and we'll go into one of the sessions here. Going to have one of the winners of one of the last heats in it. Should be a nice heat waiting for us in there. So we'll jump in and we'll start to get ready to go here to get you going for, I guess, Rallycross on iRacing. I guess a bit of a debut for it to see what all the fuss is about. I guess if you haven't got iRacing yourself or you haven't had a chance to try it out, you'll get to sort of see what it's all about here tonight. So yeah, looking forward to how this will go. And also, by the sounds of it, we may even have making no pressure now by saying it on the broadcast, but we might have Beau Albert popping in later on as well for a little chat, which would be awesome, so we can catch up on his progress as well. So good to see a couple of the guys here at Vets Online Racing, and going to keep us informed of of what's going on. So yeah, this should be a lot of fun, I think, Cam. And you know, I mean, it's out of, I guess, because obviously I think it's about 4 of the circuits got a Rallycross layout at the moment. I mean, is Daytona one of your favourites of the ones available at the moment?
Yeah, at the moment, it seems to be one of the ones I'm enjoying the most at the moment. Obviously, I haven't tried all of them yet. I haven't driven Iowa yet. I actually didn't get the chance to get in, but yeah, Daytona at the moment just seems to be the one that I seem to enjoy the most. Lucas Oil isn't too bad, although it's a little bit of a pain in some areas, but it's definitely interesting to drive these different layouts. So yeah, I'm actually enjoying Daytona the most, to be honest.
For sure, yeah. It's probably the one I've enjoyed so far the most out of the ones I have. Again, I haven't tried all of them either, but out of the ones I have tried, it is probably my favourite too, and I think that's kind of reflected in the numbers so far. Obviously, when the week 13 stuff was Daytona, and now so far the numbers have been consistently quite high in this one. So we are in the server, or I'm in the server at the moment, and we'll be having pictures soon if we don't have them yet. Of this one, we've got some very familiar names here too, so it should be a cracker of a hit like this. I think we've picked a good one to show you here. So we have a couple of really, again, you've got one big name that we know from V8 who's been a rising star. 2 of them, but 2 rising stars sort of a V8. So we got Emily Jones here in this heat, and we also have Dane Warren, who has been doing some amazing work in the V8 supercars, been really showing it to the top TTR and TTL drivers. So should be a interesting little heat, this one, Cam, because we've got a few good names who are used to being, you know, in Dane's case, very quick in the V8 supercar and some other cars as well, who maybe won't be as quite so dominant in, you know, Rallycross format. The great equalizer, I suppose.
I actually just missed that. Sorry, I was just loading into iRacing. Sorry for
It's
that.
all good, Cam, all good. It's no problem. So yeah, we'll just wait on. We've just got practice running out. We've got about 5 minutes to go of this 10-minute practice session. Then we'll have another qualifying session. We're gonna have a qualifying each heat, so that all the drivers have a chance to put in their form once again in in the same conditions. And then we have a 10-lap race with 2 joker laps for these heats. And I believe the final is a 20-lap race with 3 jokers in the final. So, I mean, and we were mentioning this before, weren't we, Cam, with how the overlay at the moment, I don't think actually shows you how many joker laps you've done. So you've actually got to kind of keep a mental note of how many joker laps you've done, or you have done, to make sure you either don't do too many or you don't miss one.
Yeah, definitely, and that's one of the challenges about Rallycross. When there's multiple joker laps, it's not just go through it once. You've actually got to remember how many times you've actually gone through it, so that you don't go, "Oh, do I need to do another one, or do I not need to do another one?" Because last thing you want to do is forget or do one too many. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see who actually does make a mistake, and hopefully no one does. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see also when people decide to do them as well, whether they decide to do them early on or middle of the race or later on.
For sure, yeah. I mean, and as we mentioned, because as we've talked about, and people have mentioned, I've seen talking about with the way the Global Rally Championship does things, Joke Lap doesn't, not always. Some of the tracks it can be either even with the normal layout or slightly disadvantaged. But unlike the World Rally Cross Championship, which has the Joker as a pretty clear disadvantage, the GRC generally has the other way around, where a lot of the tracks, especially here at Daytona, it's actually an advantage to take the joke lap. So you can almost use it as a bit of an overtaking token. You can almost save one to the last lap or two and use that to overtake someone you're stuck behind, or even early on if you're stuck in a bit of a battle pack, you can take the joker, jump past them, and then use the clear air to try and get away. So I think in a way it's a lot more tactical in that sense, isn't it, Cam? Because you can actually use it as almost an overtaking token advantage rather than having to use it as a disadvantage.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that mixes up in Rallycross. You've actually got to kind of think about when you want to use that advantage, almost like as if it's a push to pass sort of thing. So you've kind of got to take it and actually think about what sort of strategy you want to use as far as when you want to take that joke lap.
For sure, yeah. So we'll have a look. We've got about 3 minutes to go in this practice session. I guess we can have a look through the list we have here in this first heat. We've picked a good heat because there's a lot of big names that we know from various disciplines who are very successful in their discipline here in this heat. So we've got Dane Warren in this heat, and he is currently leading the time. So apparently the pace he has in the V8 showing again here in the Rallycross machines. Luca Giacomi is the other one for ERT. He's won his heat in the first round of heats there, so we'll see how he goes here. Currently second in practice, so looking pretty good to challenge for a top spot. Emily Jones is there as well, the number 68 machine, third at the moment on the timesheets. Michael Cracknell, who's doing some great things in GT cars for ERT, and is very handy at the wheel of V8s as well. He's here as well. Then we have Tommy Harradine for Western Mazda, PSS, I believe, in the number 38 machine. One of the TTL crew, Matthew Trotman, is there representing TTL in the 00 car in the old Focus. Corey Ott is there once again, so we've got him in the first broadcast split for the night, so no pressure, Corey. And then Jake Maloney is also in this split in the number 29 Focus, or Ford Fiesta, sorry, for TTL. Again, I think we actually only have two. Here we do. So we have two Volkswagens. I have to admit, my preference is the Fiesta as well, but I'm a bit of a Ford fanboy, so there's that. But looks like the Fiesta is the more preferred machine in this split anyway, and interesting to see the how that is. From what I've seen so far with that cam, it seems pretty split between the Fiesta and the Beetle. Maybe the Fiesta a bit more, but considering it's the Beetle and it's not a car that would usually, not one I really envisioned as a rallycross car. It's still being used a fairly large amount by the community so far.
Yeah, definitely. It's actually quite interesting you say that. Apparently, people are saying that the Volkswagen's quicker, but also people are saying that the Fiesta's quicker. So there's a few divided opinions, but yeah, it's actually quite interesting to see that the difference between who chooses what manufacturer. But yeah, it's definitely good to see that there's another manufacturer putting its hand up to have its car added, and with the VW Jetta already in the service for quite some time now, it's actually good to see Volkswagen joining the service once again with a slightly different car. But yeah, it's definitely good to see the performance differences being so equal between the two cars.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, with the the cars are different drivetrains, they are obviously different car, and they both operate differently and require different setups. So despite all that, and despite the fact that they do, they don't look really different, but the Volkswagen definitely looks noticeably kind of boxier than the Fiesta. It's still definitely not a slouch. It's definitely, as you say, I think it's pretty similar. Done pretty well in balancing the two cars out on pace, which is great to see from the Rallycross cars. So we're just wrapped up practice now. It's 10 minutes of practice for the drivers, and we're going to now move on to qualifying for this first broadcast heat of the OSR Rallycross Championship. I just see Luca get absolutely drilled by Dane Warren there to round off the practice session and do a nice little flip. But here we go, getting ready for qualifying. And looking very close. Jake Maloney didn't put in a proper time, so he wasn't showing his true pace there. But of the people who did set a proper time, it is pretty close. A second covering the whole field. With Dane Warren just at the front. Luca right behind him, though, so it looks like we have a nice little duel for the win already forming here in this heat. But let's see how they go here in qualifying, as they have 5 minutes to do 2 flying laps, and we'll see how they can go here in this first qualifying session for Rallycross here on V8's Online. It should be a cracker to watch. As we said, we've picked a good split here because we've got some good variety of names, as I mentioned, names who fast in various different disciplines, all because are coming together here in Rallycross, and we'll be able to see who has the skills to master both asphalt and dirt, as we have Dane Warren on the screen right now, the number 57 machine for ASM, or Stars Motorsport. Obviously been doing some pretty fantastic things in the V8 Supercar. Been one that's sort of popped out of nowhere on the map and just started absolutely pumping in the pace in the V8 Supercars and V8 Scops and various other V8 Supercar series that are run in the Aussie sim racing community. And so far, I have to say, is he's gone second at the moment. Lucas just pipped him on that first lap, but so far I have to say, Cam, looks like that's translating into Rallycross too.
Yeah, definitely. The throttle control required for Rallycross with so much horsepower and actually less grip than you think is probably actually helping with the transition from the V8. Obviously, definitely some throttle control needed when you're driving the V8. So it's definitely transitioned quite well as he runs a little bit too deep into the hairpin of the final corner, and he's going to come across the line. I don't think it'll be quicker. But he's got one more attempt, so it'll be interesting to see who can actually possibly pump out a decent lap time in this last lap. And there he goes, actually.
I think he just... Yeah, I think he'd just done his, that was his second lap, so that's why he chucked it there. But Maloney is now the one we're watching here for TTL in the Ford Fiesta. Not done a lap just yet. I didn't do a lap properly. I didn't do a proper lap in practice either, so we're not really. Well, we'll see here what his pace is like. Usually, very handy steerer was last night as well. Showed what he could do in the dirt oval sense as well, and obviously a very quick and experienced campaigner in the V8 Supercar as well. Let's see how he goes as he crosses the line. A 42.3 on his first run, so not enough to put him above last place out of everyone in the field. So he'll be 8th here by the looks of it. I think that was his first lap though, so he's got one more to go. As you can see, this is so hard to get the car pulled up through that double right-hander, and so easy to clip that little bit of the tyre barrier that sticks out on the outside. As we were mentioning pre-broadcast, not going to be surprised that we'll probably see a few fall victim. That little almost neat, sword nearly that sticks out of the wall there, just waiting to absolutely T-bone you and wreck your car. And as you were saying, Cam, before the broadcast, I mean, it doesn't take much, does it? You might think you only graze the wall slightly, but it can really mess with these RallyCross cars.
Yeah, definitely, and you don't actually realise you're going to hit it till it's very late in the moment. So it's definitely quite actually a hard corner as well, because you have to make sure that you try and get the power down while not spinning the wheels up too much. And if you do run slightly too wide, it's very difficult to actually get the car back over to the other side of the racetrack. And usually, if you do actually get out too far, you're usually going to end up in that wall, which is usually going to end in the car being destroyed, to put it simply. And I've actually seen cars actually roll from hitting it as well.
Yeah.
During the week, so it's definitely going to be very interesting to see who's actually going to keep it out of that wall.
Yeah, I mean, and from the laps I had done around here, it's just I have to agree. Same thing as Jake drills. Yeah, Jake just drills the tyre barrier there and shows the effect that can have on these cars. But I have to agree, yeah, that little barrier can be deadly to these cars. And as I mentioned before, I get the feeling we'll have quite a few potential victims to it, because it is just so easy. Just let it drift that little bit too wide, and then once you've started drifting and you realise it's coming, as you say, it's generally too late to really do anything. And that's the way it goes. So we have the starting grid on the screen now. We'll go through that before we start this heat 10-lap race, 2 Joker laps here, and we have an 8-car field for this, what is the second round of heats here for OSR's RallyCross Series, round 1. So Luca Giacomin is the pole man in this heat with a 40.801. Very, very speedy lap from him. Dane Warren within 300ths of a second, but not quite able to pip him for pole, but still second spot and looking like that'll be a really nice duel for the win in this heat. Third place is Matthew Trotman with a 41.1. In third spot, Emily Jones doing well there with a 41.3 in fourth spot, so in a good position to potentially challenge for a podium in this heat. We have Michael Cracknell with a 41.7 in fifth, Tommy Harradine with a 41.9 in sixth. Jake Maloney managed to improve on that second lap and go to a 42 flat to put himself seventh, and Corey Ott rounds out your field with a 42.3, and he'll be looking, as he mentioned when we interviewed him now, I think he'll be looking just to keep his nose clean and try and get the results out that way. And it worked well in the last heat. He kept his nose clean in the last heat and was able to come away with the third spot. So I think he'll be looking to do the same again in this one. So yeah, this is looking like it should be a really nice race on that, Cam. We've got a lovely field of drivers, and that lead battle looks like it could be really juicy here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be very, very close, as they're going to head into turn 1, probably 3 wide, if not possibly 4 if they're ballsy enough. But yeah, well, it'll definitely be interesting to see who actually comes out on top on this one. The person who finishes last in this one will actually go to the last chance qualifier. So no one's going to actually want to finish last in this one. They're all going to want to make sure they actually finish. So it's going to be absolutely critical that these guys make sure they don't end up in a wreck of some sort or make a mistake.
Indeed, yep. So the grid is now on, and we are ready to go in RallyCross here at OSR. And his green flag and the field is away, and at the front it's a pretty much dead even start for all the cars on the front.
Already.
Oh, Crackers is gone. Oh yeah, in the background, big hit with the wall for Crackers. That's going to be heavy damage. There's more contact at the back. Oh, Crackers' car is really not in a good way. That front end is really bent in. So bad start for Crackers, but everyone else has managed to get through nice and cleanly. But the top, or pretty much everyone, the whole field is in a lovely line right behind Dane Warren. He got the jump on Luca. He leads here in this first lap of this heat. 10-lap heat, 2 Joker laps here for OSR's RallyCross. And yeah, look at that, Michael Cracknell, not the way he wants to start his night. Oh, he's got more issues.
Checking up.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Oh, look at this battle for seconds really on, isn't he? You got him, or third, sorry, Emily Jones and Matthew Trotman going at it, and you've also got Jake Maloney just behind. So great battle here, and both of them are taking their Joker, as is
Most of
Luca
them,
as well.
actually.
And Dane, yeah. Wow, so a lot of people taking that first Joker early.
Yeah, I think everybody wanted to just get it out of the way so they didn't have to worry about it later on. So, not too bad of a ploy, but it's going to make it that much closer so that most of these guys don't actually have to think about it at this stage. Probably with one more to do it, they'll probably do it, one more to go, they'll probably do it later on in the piece, but it's going to be very interesting to see who actually does it when, seeing as there is one more.
Exactly, I was just about to say, yeah, Maloney and Crackers are having a nice battle over that last spot. And yeah, I was going to say Maloney, I did notice, has got pretty hefty damage. He's dropped well back now from the pack. I assume he's had an incident somewhere. And that
Yeah.
Ford Fiesta, yeah, front right's
Yeah.
not in a good way. It's not looking too good, but he isn't in last. And as we mentioned, that's the key, is that you want to avoid that last spot. So Crackers and Maloney will be fighting for that last place like it's for a win, I suspect. Try and avoid the last chance qualifier. We've got Jones and Trotman on the screen now. This is for the podium in this heat. As Jones going, wow, it looks so close, doesn't it? It's so tempting to use all that road and you just use that a little bit too much. And if you drill that wall, it'll absolutely murder your car. We've got a good battle at the front as well. Dane and Luca getting pretty close in that battle for the win in this heat. And then we have Corey Ott behind in 5th spot. So far, hasn't been able to do what he was saying he wanted to do, which is keep the nose clean, and is not in last place, which is the main thing. So we're going to be avoiding that last chance qualifier for now. Tommy Harradine 6th, there's Maloney, and Crackers has dropped back into last place now. But this battle at the front, Cam, looking pretty juicy, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's very, very close at the moment. And we're only 4 laps in, so it's going to be very interesting to see who actually manages to keep the pace going as the fuel drops off as well. So it's going to be quite interesting. And also with the track also drying up and tyres going off, it's going to make things quite interesting.
For sure, yeah. So, Luca just giving the barrier a little bit of a tap as well. Always dangerous to do that because the cars, as we saw when Jake drilled it at the end of quali there, these cars can react a bit violently to hitting the tyre barrier. So it's always a risk when you do push your luck on the barriers. As Dane Warren just took his second Joker, so he's now done with the Joker laps. He doesn't have to worry about doing his second one. But what that does mean now is if Luca can stick within about 1.5 second of Dane, he might have a chance to do his Joker and actually pass Dane with that Joker lap. So this could be crucial in the battle for the win of this heat. The top 4 all very close as well. Some great battling at the front of the field. And Corey, as I said, is behind in 5th, just trying to keep the nose clean, although Tommy Harradine has been slowly closing in, although had a pretty speedy lap last time, about 6/10 faster than Corey. So Corey's going to have to pick up the pace. He doesn't want to drop behind him as Maloney's off again, having a really horrid time in this heat. As Maloney is, taking some very interesting lines through the back half of the track. That front end of that car is not looking very happy. It looks like a very angry Ford Fiesta right now, and I'm sure it's feeling that way with them. Just got to. I have noticed Crackers has retired, so that now means that he'll be in last, so he'll be going through the last chance qualifier, and the rest of the drivers are safe from that for now. So as long as they can bring it home now, they'll be safe from that. So that's probably a little bit of a pressure relief for the drives as they go along here. But Dane Warren continues to lead now. Done a 41.7 last time, but I was actually slower than Luca by a few tenths. So Luca's really putting the fight to Dane, and this could well come down to that last Joker, couldn't it, Cam?
Yeah, absolutely. That extra pace is probably going to help him, although it does depend on where he actually is quicker. If he's not actually that much quicker on the dirt, he's probably going to be not able to catch him as quick as he probably would like to. So it's going to be very interesting to see where the pace difference is between the two drivers.
For sure, yeah, and I mean it is looking pretty even. Last lap was actually almost identical from both Dane and Lucas, so the pace is evened out there. They are continuing to just slowly pull away from Trotman and Emily Jones. I've got a battle developing for 5th as well. Goriott's been caught by I think a sort of semi-recovering Tommy Harradine after he had a few little issues earlier on as he come back through the field. As we look through at the front, so Luca didn't take his Joker again. He's saving it. But I wouldn't be surprised if he does it either this lap or the next. And that's going to be really interesting to see where he pops out because he's just about there. I think he might maybe just be a touch too far behind to pass Dane with the Joker, but it's very close. I think they might well be side by side when Luke does take that Joker, so we'll keep an eye on that. Looks like Corey has just been able to stretch away from Tommy ever so slightly. Had a bit of a cleaner lap this time round, so good stuff there. Good little battle for the podium continuing too.
And there he
Trotman
goes.
and Emily Jones also going for it, but there it is. Luca takes the lap, and not quite. There you go. Dane absolutely drills the barrier on the right side as they cross the line. And I believe we have 2 laps to go now in this race. So 2 more laps, and that ploy didn't work. Luca wasn't quite close enough to get the move done with the Joker.
Yeah, definitely. So Dane's going to have the advantage here with the fact that he's got to do that Joker, and he's going to gain that extra time back. But it's going to be interesting to see whether Dane's actually got the overall pace, as Luca's looking very, very racy at the moment. Dane still hasn't actually gone for the Joker, so Luca could possibly actually get by, and if he can extend that gap out far enough, he might be able to get away with this one.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just looking at the as well, just looking at the timing, trying to gather whether. Yeah, I think I think Dane has taken his 2 Jokers, because he took it on the first lap with most of the field, and then on lap 4 he took his second lap. So Dane has actually, by the looks of it, done all his laps. So he won't have that advantage. As Harradine just got past Corey as well, as Jay just informing us there. So there you go. That's that move done for Tommy, back up to 5th spot. Corey down to 6th. As we'll stay with the leaders here, because they are having a very nice little duel here for the win in this heat. Doesn't really matter too much here at this stage of the night of racing, because they are well clear of going into the last chance qualifier. But a bit of pride on the line, but it won't matter because Dane has got the win here in this heat. Second round of heats for OSR's Rallycross series of round 1 of racing here tonight. Dane Warren, your victor in this heat from Luca Giacomin. There for ERT, 1.4 seconds in the end, the gap at the front. So a great little duel they had. Those two pretty much matching each other all race long. So great battle there. 3rd spot does go to Matthew Trotman there, 6 seconds off the lead. Emily Jones coming home P4. Good result there for her. Only a second off Trotman too. So great stuff there. Tommy Harradine recovers back up to P5 after some issues earlier on in the race with contact and moments, but gets back up to 5th, so good little recovery for him. Coriot comes home in 6th from the back of the field, so good steady drive from him. And then you have Jake Maloney and Michael Cracknell, your retirements from this one. And again, the crucial point there is that Crackers will be relegated to the last chance qualifiers, so that'll be one to watch there. But that was a good little race, I got to say, Cam. There was some great battling. We had some crashes as well, with Crackers having a pretty hefty hit with the wall early on. But good signs, I think, for what's to come tonight.
Yeah, definitely. It's very much showing us what we could possibly expect in the next race. So it's definitely very close, and it's definitely very entertaining. So can't wait to see what happens in the race we're about to see next.
For sure. As we're just also getting on screen now a Cut Price Racing replay of the pass from Tommy Harradine on Coriot. And that was a very, very smooth little battle actually they were having there. They went side by side. I'm just watching, as Jay mentioned there, changed position 3 times at 2 corners. A bit biff and barge as well, but that sort of comes with the territory of Rallycross. But they managed to battle it out cleanly and come out the other side relatively straight.
So it looks like we will go to a break at this stage. I'm not sure what's happened to Thomas, but we'll go to a break anyway, and we'll come back for the next race, which will be the main event, I believe. So it's going to be all on the line in the next one for what's going to be a 20-lap race. So we'll be right back after this ad break.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT Series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, and many more. iRacing.com, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
Welcome back to OSR RallyCross here on V8's Online. Back from my PC, just having a little bit of a moment there, but we're back online now. As I was saying to the guys there in the break, apparently my PC just saying there that the racing's so hot that it couldn't even handle it, and it just went, you know what? Sorry, can't do it. I'm out. But hopefully it'll be good now for the rest of the night's racing. But we do have another interviewer or interviewee in the booth, and it's another one of our V8's Online brethren. It's Mr. Beau Albert. Hello, Beau.
Hello, how are we all?
Yes, good, good, good. Well, as we were saying on the broadcast, had a really quite exciting heat that we watched there as our first one on the broadcast. But obviously we weren't watching the one you were in, so I guess you can sort of give us a wrap up of what your heat was like.
Yeah, I saw the last few clips of that race you guys had on broadcast, and I'm pretty glad I wasn't in it because I was in a split with Hampstead and Rogers, Cam's two teammates. So Cam, just a little setup tip: 200 kilos of ballast and full fuel goes like a rocket ship. Trust me, works every time. But no, those guys were just too quick, and unfortunately had to settle for third. But still some good results at the moment. So positive night so far.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we were watching in our heat as well. Luca was in the heat that we were watching and got the second there, battling with Dame for the win. He's showing, by the looks of it, these pretty handy in these rallycross cars for you guys.
Yeah, Luca has a rally car background, so he
Mm.
races a Subaru all over Victoria. So he
Very
knows what
nice.
to do when it comes to the gravel stuff. So a very talented driver, also very quick in the Porsche. So he's got tarmac experience as well. So this is basically his perfect sport. So in a few months down the line, expect to still see Luca Giacomin in these cars for sure.
There you go. Yeah. So, and thank you for sort of confirming that in my mind as well. So, yeah, no, that's as I kind of figured. I sort of had the suspicion he had a bit of experience there. Just the way he was driving was very, very professional and very precise. And it's interesting to see as well. We've been saying already with on the broadcast when we interviewed Corey before. This sort of almost like a random dip into the hat of sorts that rallycross is, that just sort of really jumbles up the field and you get all sorts of different results. There's a few guys who are still up there like you would see in other series, but some other guys who are showing pace that you wouldn't normally be used to. As we've got a session up now, so we should be joining it any minute now. But I mean, is that what you're seeing as well so far, Beau? That the rallycross, because it's a combination of the two, is that kind of mixing up the form guide almost?
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's so many different backgrounds and of drivers that are competing in rallycross at the moment that no one really knows what the best discipline to have been racing on and transferring to rallycross will be. So very interesting to see which drivers are actually at the front at the moment. But once we really all get our heads around rallycross in a few months' time, the form book could be on its head once again. So who knows?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly right. It's an evolving series right now. There's obviously just come into the iRacing roster, so evolving at quite a quick rate. But I mean, I was talking to Cam before about I think it's about 4 tracks that are on the roster at the moment on iRacing that have got their rallycross layout. I mean, is Daytona one of your favorites you've done so far, or are you sort of preferring a couple of the other tracks available at the moment?
I definitely think I'm more of a Phoenix boy. I just love the crazy nature of that coming off the oval and just hard on the brakes and a hairpin. That's a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward when to come to Phoenix, but Daytona produces some amazing racing. So looking forward to how this next heat goes, which is just about to kick off.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll jump into that now, and we'll get into the swing of the next round of heats. So again, thank you for coming in, Beau. And if we don't talk to you a bit later on, good luck for the rest of the heats, and see you again soon.
Yeah, thanks very much. Just a quick shout out to the guys at Logitech G, Joral Timing, and GTI. I'm in this split, so hopefully I'll put on a good show for you boys.
That'd be good. Good luck to you, Beau, and thank you again for coming in. So we'll jump in now for this heat. And again, last place will go to the next to the last chance qualifier, or the next last chance qualifier. We've got some of the results up on screen. Malky Healy, kind of note there, has now gone 2 from 2 in his split races there. He won server 1. Michael Hammond was second in that server, and Shannon Mason getting a podium as well. Corey mentioning these really seem to take to the rallycross very well. Actually beat out Reese Gardner, who's 4th again. So I wonder if that's, hopefully we're not going to now have another someone stuck in a position like a certain number 88 who may be stuck in 6th place all the time these days. But anyway, hopefully we don't have Reese having that case the 4th spot. But the second server, as Beau mentioned, was the one he was in that last round. Joshua Rogers winning it by nearly nearly 5 seconds over his teammate Richard Hampstead. So a bit of a stomp for authority there, and Beau getting the third in that one. And the one we watched, we've seen the results there, but it was obviously the winner was Dane Warren, Luca Jackerman. So thank you to Beau for clarifying that for me. And then Trotman getting the third. Wayne Burke got the win in serve 4 from Lanarth in second, and Harris in third. So interesting to see again Lanarth showing he's just as quick here on Rallycross as he is in something like the Porsches, especially. CJ Taylor winning in serve 5 by a pretty hefty margin over Daniel Ackland in second. Then it was Brookfield in third. And Brendan Bateman won the 6th server from Callaghan, who we saw, or Tom Callaghan, who we saw in the Knoxville Nationals last night, showing yet another one who seems to be pretty handy at this Rallycross snack. There you go. So Bateman won the LCQ. So this is the LCQ, sorry, that I'm mentioning here. So he won that from 3 seconds nearly to Callaghan, and it was Clark in third. So Bateman saved for now, gets to continue on. And it's Lanac. Sorry, Scott Lanac. There we go. So apologies to ERT. I'm getting all the names wrong for ERT. So apologies in advance to those guys. Not meaning any harm, just apparently being awful at English. But here we go, getting ready to go for the next round of heat scam. And I mean, as we saw then, racing has been pretty. I mean, let's just use the coin term, crazy bonkers. Not quite so crazy bonkers as Knoxville was last night, but I mean, the rate it's going, it could get pretty juicy once we get into the finals, couldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. All these guys, we're definitely fighting for the same piece of real estate at this stage. So everybody will be trying their best to make that main event, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see who actually goes through and who actually doesn't.
For sure, yeah. So it's going to be a really interesting race that we'll be having here. A second heat of racing for the night as we continue to whittle down the list to have a final lineup for the last race of the evening. As we said, 20-lap race, that final with 3 Joker laps, so a lot to keep track of for the drivers. They're not just trying to keep the cars on track and battle others, they have to also keep an eye on how many Jokers they have done and when to use them too, when to optimize their Joker lap usage. It's a term that I feel like has a nice ring to it there. But yeah, it should be interesting to watch how that plays out over the night, and even these 10-lap races, 2 Joker laps they're going to do. And as we saw in that last race, a lot of people taking that first one very early on, thinking, I suppose, that they may as well get it out of the way, get that first one done so they don't have to worry about it later. They can save that last Joker lap for an opportune time to maybe get a cheeky overtake done if they're stuck behind someone. So we'll see how that plays out in this second round of heats as we continue to whittle down the field and look towards the finals, which yeah, man, as I said, looking at the lineup, we've got a pretty star-studded lineup for the first week of Rallycross action here on OSR, and I'm expecting the race to continue to be pretty insane. We haven't seen anyone get claimed by the sword. I think the sword is why I think is a nice term for it. The exit of the double right hander. We haven't seen anyone claimed on that wall just yet, but I mean, as we were saying before, Cam, how easy is it to do that? I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe see someone falling to it either this heat or the next one.
Yeah, definitely. Note the word yet. We've still got some decent racing to go. So, for all we know, someone could hit it at any time throughout these next few races. But, yeah, as you say, it's very, very much going to be about keeping yourself out of the walls and making sure you finish the races.
For sure, yeah, and as we've seen from Corey, that's 2 races where he's got some good running and just not necessarily been doing lightning pace, but just kept his nose clean. He's been able to get some really good results just from keeping out of trouble and not having contact with the walls or getting involved in accidents for the drivers. So going to be one to watch. But we're in the session now here for this next heat, third round of heats here for OSR Rallycross, and yet again we've got a really nice lineup here for this one. We have once again we have Hampstead and Rogers there, so Beau's going to have to verse them again here tonight, so you can't seem to catch a break from getting away from the Rogers and Hampstead crew. But so Hampstead, Rogers, Benjamin Smith, Daniel Ackland, Luke Meyer, Beau Albert, Corey Ott again. So we got him again on the second broadcast heat. So we swear we're not stalking you, Corey. So apologies, but seems to be just working that way. And Jamie McKnight rounds out your field for this one. It'll be another 8-car field for this second heat. So should be an interesting little bit of racing. And already Rogers here in practice showing that pace, half a second clear of Richard Hampstead. It's quite incredible, isn't it? That we know how quick he is in the V8 supercar, but I mean, even despite how much different of a discipline in a way, despite still being very quick cars with not a lot of grip, despite having that whole gravel aspect to it as well, he's still being very handy at this sort of discipline of racing, isn't he, Cam?
Yeah, definitely. He's adapted quite well to it. So it's good to see him doing as well as he is at the moment. And no doubt he'll probably get quicker as he does it more and more often.
For sure, yeah. So leading the way in practice here at the moment with a 40.453. We've also got Hampstead second and then Beau's there as well in P3 for now. Should be an interesting battle. I think really the one probably to watch will be that last place again to avoid a last chance qualifier and avoid being shafted into that. That'll be the key here. It looks like a lot of the guys towards the back half of the field are all pretty close in terms of pace, so we should have a really nice battle to try and not finish last essentially and stay out of that last chance qualifier and keep yourself in the bargain to make it to the final later on tonight. So going along though, I think actually in this race too, I was looking just before. I believe it is an entirely Ford Fiesta affair, and Corey's the only Beetle in this race. So Corey repping the Beetle here, trying to get it through to the next round of heats and I'll keep his chance alive of making it to the final. Hopefully get a result for the Beetle there and show what it can do against the Fiesta competitor, so to speak. So got about 15 seconds left in practice here before we move on to qualifying. And as I mentioned there with the times, it's looking pretty close. I mean, Rogers looking like he's a bit in a league of his own at the moment, but certainly that battle for sort of fourth, fifth, and down, I think Cam looks like it could be a really juicy one here in this heat.
Yeah, very much. It's very close between those couple of positions. So I'd say there's going to be quite a bit of scrapping between that little bunch, and it should provide some very good racing. There's also one other thing that I've actually noticed over the few races, well, the race we've done, and also throughout this practice session, that is that guys have actually been clipping those tire bales, and they've actually sent them across the track. So whether guys are going to actually use that to their advantage in a cheeky way or not is actually going to be very interesting to see.
For sure, yeah. I was going to say, I've been noticing that as well. That you can, if you hit it right, you can hit it and pretty much not really get any damage either. You get a little bit of external damage, but you don't actually get any physical damage to the car. So you can get away with hitting them at the right angle, and as you say, it'll send them flying, and you can almost use them as a bit of a missile and send them into another car. So we'll see how that goes. Fingers crossed, nobody does. He's a bit of a cheeky tactic like that, but you never know. It is to try and get into the final. The situation might come around that you need to get past someone and in any way you can. But we'll see how we go as the cars are now out on track to do their qualifying runs, starting, I believe, we probably should just go on board with or have a look at Joshua Rogers, I'd imagine, seeing as he's been the man on the pace so far. As he clips that, I think he might have just missed that tyre bale on the left side again, looking like he hit it on my screen, but I reckon it's a bit of a lag contact and not an actual contact. And you can see there the cars naturally drift towards that tyre bundle that sticks right out, just inviting you to T-bone it and really heavily damage the left side of the car. Line's looking very clean, really nice tight line there through the hairpin, getting the catapult launch out. Using the grass on the left-hand side, you can actually do that, and it isn't an off-track here on this circuit, so a good tactic that can be used to gain that extra tenth or two down that little flowing stretch there. As you head down out of the last corner now, and across the line, his first lap of 40.6 puts him a tenth off what he set, or just under a tenth off what he set in practice, and 8/10 clear of Beau Albert, who's actually pipped Richard Hampstead at the moment. But I think Hampstead not quite put in his best lap yet, not quite shown his hand. But this driving, it's just so precise, isn't it, from Rogers?
Yeah, definitely. He's keeping that momentum up, and he's not wheel spinning the car too much when he puts the power down. He's just being nice and smooth, and he's almost doing it as if he's doing a bit of a dance at the moment, is the way I like to put it. You've got to kind of not be too aggressive with your moves, but you've kind of just got to be smooth and elegant and make sure you hit your marks. And as he just absolutely clouds the tire wall and then the concrete wall. But yeah, as I was saying, you've kind of got to just be elegant and smooth and make sure you hit your marks and everything to make sure that you can have as best of a lap as possible, which Rogers has clearly done by quite a margin.
For For sure, yeah. And I think, as you say, you've done to put a very nice way of putting that. It is kind of a dance, especially around this Daytona circuit. A lot of very flowing corners, and you are kind of almost dancing the car from side to side, from front to rear, trying to get the best lines through the corners to get the launches out of the slow corners and keep the speed going through them, keep that momentum going. It's so crucial to getting those quick laps. But qualifying is more or less complete. I think all the drivers have put in their laps now, so we'll go through what should be the order here. I think Corey might just be doing one more lap. No, he's just completed his lap. There you go, just completed his second lap, and he's just pipped Luke Meyer there as well. So I think now we have our order. So we'll go through that now. So as we've got the grid up there now as well. We've got a little bit of time left in quali, but we'll get the grid smashed out. So Joshua K. Rogers taking the pole in this heat, a 40.531, over half a second clear of second spot. Looking set here to possibly, if he can get the good launch, he could have a bit of a nice cruisy run in this heat. But you never know what can happen in Rallycross, especially. So we'll have to wait and see. Beau Albert managing to get second with a 41.1, great time from him. Manages to pit Richard Hampstead, who got a 41.265. Who also just got ahead of Daniel Ackland in fourth, who was just under 200ths of a second behind Richard Hampstead there, so really close in that battle for third. Again, another sort of 10th or 10th and a half behind was Benjamin J. Smith in fifth spot with 41.4, and we've got a bit of a gap back to what will be probably the main showcase battle here in terms of the importance to the last chance qualifiers, and who makes it to the final, and is that battle to stay at the last place. You got Jamie McKnight on a 41.9. Rory Ott managed to put in a 42.1 to start in seventh, and then you got Luke Meyer with a 42.2 starting at the back here. But very interesting to see, isn't it? But Cam, we've almost got Josh sort of in his own little league there at the front. That we got a nice little battle for potentially second, and a good little battle at the back there to stay at last place in this heat.
Yeah, definitely. It's very much Rogers out in front with absolutely no question about it. But then you've got all that little group of consisting of Albert, Hampstead, Ackland, Smith, McKnight, Ott, and Muir. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see who actually wins that little battle there for the podium, and also who actually goes through to the main event.
Sure, yeah. So at the moment, obviously, Jamie McKnight in the seat there in sixth spot, probably in the best spot to for his sake, hopefully stay out of that last spot. But it's all about that launch. And if you can, I've seen, I know I've seen like a video that I think Madison Down actually posted one of our obviously multiple champion of the V8 supercars, and absolute gun in them, and showed some good pace as well in the Knoxville Nationals last night. Showed how good of a launch you can get even from the second or third row, and you can just absolutely fly. If you get the launch right, you can jump 2 or 3 positions in the space of about 50 meters in these rallycross cars. So the launch is super important in these races to sort of positioning yourself for the rest of the race. So the grid is formed, the lights are coming on, we're ready to go here for the third round of heats of OSR Rallycross here at Daytona, and we are go here for this heat, and it looks like, I think actually Hampstead, has got the launch. He's managed to, he's managed to jump both Josh and
there's contact.
There's big contact. There's all sorts.
Almost run. He's actually held onto it.
Yeah, he's held onto it, but
getting a bit bashed around as well further.
Yeah. Oh, and they're still sorting themselves out further back. What that has done is that the path, the seas pretty much literally just parted for Joshua Rogers, who didn't get the jump, but thanks to some contact behind, he's been managed to get through into the lead after all that. So despite the bad launch, this has all kind of worked out well for Josh, as he now leads the race.
Beau had a big moment in front of Corey.
Oh, no. Oh, the V8's...
Oh, they've straightening each other out. Oh, they're contact.
Oh,
roughing his race and taking a whole new definition.
Oh, the rivalry is a bit too intense, I guess, between our V8's online members here, trying to beat each other there. But Beau and Daniel Ackland taking the Joker, so they're going to get done. I think Hampstead
did as well.
Yep, and so did Josh Rogers as well. Benjamin Smith hasn't, so he's got to still do 2 Jokers. As we've got a really juicy battle at the back of the field, from 4th all the way down to the back of the field. There's a big battle pack. And it's actually right now it's Corey Ott and Jamie McKnight, as Corey nearly gets squeezed into the tyre barrier from Jamie there. Super close racing. This is important. They'll be battling this position right now. I guess not as important as the one behind, but they don't want to get each other too much as Corey's gone. His contact from Jamie, so big moment there for Corey, and that's going to be a tall order now for him. He has to push hard to try and get at last place and stay out of the last chance qualifier.
Yeah, he's got quite a bit of work ahead of him. And now I've got Beau Albert and Daniel.
Oh,
That's some
wow.
serious contact. Now, someone's just about, one of them's mounted the tie bundle just about. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
Ackland by the looks of it.
Yeah, and I'm just seeing now what caused that. We're probably getting, I'm assuming, a Cup Price Racing replay that as well. It was Jamie McKnight. He just done his Joker lap, and he's just come out in the worst spot right next to these two who are battling away for position, coming to the corner, and I mean, he's had to join somehow, and he's joined right in the middle of it, and that's the result. So this is how these Joker laps can work. When you come out of the wrong spot, it can all come undone in the blink of an eye. So back live now, and Beau Albert having a big slide there through the hairpin, really drifting it around. So the field has spread out a bit now. What this has done, though, is now Daniel Ackland is at the back. He's trying to charge through with a bonnetless Fiesta, and Ott has managed to now get himself out of the last place and clear of that, as he's now sitting in 7th spot, having just done a Joker then. So pretty... As Hampstead is catching Rogers, so he may have a nice little inter-team fight here for the lead cam.
Yeah, definitely. And they've both done both of their Joker laps at this moment in time. So they've got to do it on track on their own rather than taking advantage of that Joker lap.
Sure, yeah, and I think last lap, yeah, and again, so Hampstead quicker by about a 10th, not quite as quick as the last lap over Rogers, but still quicker, and still just slowly reeling him in. Benjamin Smith had a lovely run in P3, managed to avoid the incidents early on, was probably one of the big benefactors from the Turn 1 shenanigans, and he's sitting in P3 right now having a good run, but he does have Beau Albert closing in quite quickly. In that battle for 3rd, so one battle to watch. McKnight 5th with Luke Meyer behind him, and Corey Ott also not far behind, so another good battle for 5th. And then a recovering Daniel Ackland runs out the field in a very sorry looking Fiesta after contact with the tyre bundle before. Both the front and rear of that car is pretty heavily squished in. So there you go, but still going on. As we've got McKnight and Muir on the screen. Battle at the front is sort of stabilised. Both cars doing the same pace that last lap. But we'll keep an eye on this battle here for P5. McKnight and Muir with Ott not too far behind either. So we'll get a 3-car battle pretty soon. Luke Meyer that last lap doing his Joker as well. That was, I believe, his 2nd Joker. Already done both his Jokers at the halfway point of this race. So getting them done nice and early. But I guess this is the interesting thing with this, isn't it, in a way, Cam? That you don't want to get too caught up, like we saw with Corey and Jamie before. You don't want to get too caught up battling at this sort of part of the field, because if you have a major incident, you might be suddenly at the very back and in the last chance qualifier.
Yeah, absolutely. As I've now seen Beau Albert right on the back of Benjamin Smith, but Beau decides to go into the Joker lap, so he'll come out just ahead of Benjamin Smith. But I believe Benjamin Smith is yet to do his 2nd Joker lap as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this little battle for the final spot on the podium plays out, actually.
Yeah. And we'll stay with that now with your picture on the screen at the moment. It's the battle for 3rd, Beau Albert and Benjamin Smith, and interesting little battle as well, because Beau's now done both his Jokers, did it on the first lap and just then, and look at that, Benjamin Smith almost straight through, getting a much better run through the mid corner, but then not getting it lined up for the exit, and Beau just steamrolling away with the better line there. So Benjamin, as we said, still got to do that 2nd Joker. Will he take it now? It looks like he will. So let's see where he comes out. I think he should beat Beau out just about. Let's have a look. It's very close. They're going to be side by side into the turn 1. Oh, contact again.
Oh, and Smith's going to hit the time on. Albert's just held on to that.
Oh, wow. And Benjamin's gone facing the wrong way. He's going to be careful here about rejoining. Oh, we're right into the car for Corey Ott. Oh, and Corey's gone massive damage to that Volkswagen Beetle. They're both trying to get going here. We've got Daniel Ackland coming through as well. And all of a sudden, this battle at the back has just gone off. That was a huge contact for Corey. He's just come round. And Benjamin, just sliding into frame. And I mean, that's one of those things, though, isn't it, Cam? Is that you got to turn around somewhere, and it's not a good spot to be the wrong way around right there.
Yeah, definitely not. And it's actually in a bit of a difficult position as well, especially with it being the place of where you transition from having grip on the tarmac to no grip on the gravel. So pulling it up is not really going to be too easy of a thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, just made that noise because I just saw Richard Hampstead giving Josh Rogers a bit of a bump into the hairpin there. Oh, giving some airtime for the back end of Joshua Rogers' car. We might get a cut price racing replay that potentially. It was at the hairpin there as they went on that little dirt section down the back section of the track. But Rogers has stayed ahead despite that little bump. From Hampstead there, but the rear end looking a little bit dented after a bit of love from his teammate there. But either way, we're on the last lap now, and these two are very close. Hampstead's been keeping Rogers very honest this whole race. I have to give credit to Hampstead. His pace has been really, really consistent all race long, consistently doing mid or low 41s ever since lap 4. That last lap was his slowest since lap 4, and that was because he had the contact with Josh. So Hampstead sort of showing here that Rogers may not be quite as dominant as we saw in qualifying, because Hampstead's keeping him honest all race long. He won't quite have enough to get the win here, but still a great showing from TTL and from Hampstead. But Joshua Rogers is going to come out victorious here in the third round of heats in this particular heat of OSR Rallycross here at Daytona. So it'll be Rogers from Hampstead. They both do some lovely work there over the line. It's going to be Beau Albert in a bit of a lonesome third in the end. Got involved in some incidents early on, but managed to come through to take a third regardless. So good result there for Beau, getting that one for ERT. Then we have Jamie McKnight coming through in fourth from sixth spot. So a good drive from him, keeping out of trouble at the end there to get that fourth spot. So he stays clear of the last chance qualifier for Performance Motorsport. Then we had Luke Meyer in P5, and then we had Daniel Ackland managing to get sixth in the end. So he'll be happy with that to get out of that last spot, thanks to the incident with Benjamin Smith, who comes home seventh. Unfortunately, Corey Ott coming home in eighth there after the contact with Benjamin Smith. So he'll be in the last chance qualifier in the next round to try and stay in this competition and get through to the final as well. So yeah, I think that's it's pretty crazy bonkers race. I think that one, Cam.
Yeah, it definitely was. It had all sorts of action going on, so it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens in these final few races, especially with so much more on the line, and going to be very, very interesting to see who actually comes out on top and who's made it through to that main event.
For sure, yeah. So I guess now that as we again wait for the next round of heats to be sorted and put up, we will probably take a short break now and then come back with more Rallycross action here. It's OSR Rallycross here on Thursday nights here on V8s Online. Hope you're enjoying the show. We'll be back in a second.
Hi guys, Scott Speed here, welcoming you to the Volkswagen Beetle GRC car here in iRacing. It is so fun. Wanted to give you guys some pointers around the track here. This is the actual track that we drove in Daytona. It looks unbelievable. When you see the footage from the onboard of the actual track, it's crazy how similar they got it. Give you some tips on the car. First thing you're gonna notice is this thing is a 2-liter turbo engine that has over 600 horsepower. And it is geared for acceleration. So you're gonna go through the gearbox very quickly. That's the first thing you know. As soon as you leave the pits, you're gonna be like, wow. You're just gonna have to upshift gears very rapidly. And then you're gonna get on the brakes for the first time and you're gonna notice this big momentum shift. The car is gonna lean over, it's gonna have a ton of weight transfer, and that's because we run really soft springs in this thing to get the traction that you're gonna need in the dirt. Once you get through the first corner, you're probably going to realize that as soon as you touch the throttle, it doesn't really want to turn anymore. You've got to be aware that four-wheel drive likes to stop very quickly and it likes to go very quickly. It doesn't like to corner so much. For the first corner, you definitely want to wait until you're kind of straight to get on the gas, and that'll bring you up to the really fun section. And you get to experience dirt in a four-wheel drive rally car for the first time, and it's incredible. The thing you're going to notice is that the car wants to just continue going in whatever direction it started in. So when you approach these corners, you're really going to have to turn quite before the corner, very early, and the car is going to develop this momentum to it. It's still very important to hit the apex and to be very tidy and clean, but you're going to have to do that with the momentum of the car. And then you got this nice jump that is really fun. One thing to keep in mind when you're in the air is if you hit the brakes, the front end will come down. If you hit the gas, the front end will come up a little bit. So you got to control, kind of like an airplane, the pitch of the car in the air so you're kind of flying straight. And as soon as you land here, you're going to want to start heading left. You're going to give it a big input and start it sliding to the left. And you're just going to be constantly trying to slow this thing down to make this corner, because it's very, very slippery and it's a very tight corner. And the preferred line, believe it or not, is still going to be right here at the apex. Once you get out of here, the next couple corners are relatively simple, typical tarmac corners. Not a lot to these stuff. This is all flat out. And yeah, let's see what a full lap looks like.
Welcome back to V8's Online here for Thursday night RallyCross OSR's new series here at Daytona, the long way out for the first round of the championship. And we're coming up on what will be the fourth round of heats, the third round that we've had on the broadcast here tonight, and should be looking forward to some more awesome racing. We've had some great close battling so far, had plenty of big contacts as well, and it's all really kicked off so far tonight and can only get better as we get closer to the final and sorting out the lineup for that. But we've been joined by another one of our V8's Online brethren, Mr. Stephen Sandman Clark. Hello, Sandman.
G'day, mate. How you going?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. Just trying to keep a lid on things, I suppose. Get too carried away with the rallycross, pretty easy to do. But how's things going at your end? Obviously not doing the V8s next season, but I mean, what's sort of the looking forward to you racing wise for the new year and next season?
So I decided to step away from the V8s. Unfortunately, I just wasn't as competitive as I would have liked. So, decided to give my seat away. And, TTR got some big plans for next season with V8 Scots and everything else. So, yeah, time to take a little bit of a back seat and enjoy myself a little bit. And I do plan on doing some oval track racing come 2018. So, always been a big fan of oval track stuff. So, we'll see how that all unfolds. But, boy, oh boy, it's hard not to get caught up in the old rallycross action, isn't it? This stuff's unreal.
Yeah. Well, man, as we've been saying, the hype has been just ridiculous for rallycross. I was thinking about it as it's been going on. I've seen quite a few people even just saying about how they're not tried racing and they're jumping on just for the rallycross. It's enough that they're going, you know what, I'll jump on and I'll have a go. I'll just get on racing and have a go at the rallycross. It's quite unbelievable the impact it's had in that regard. And as we've mentioned throughout the broadcast, it's really interesting to see the sort of the jumbling of the field. It really does throw a spanner right into the works, and it all goes flying everywhere. And the form guide we just don't know at the moment because of that mixing of the disciplines. There's no idea how to tell. And I guess has that been something that you found quite fascinating as well, watching where everyone is placed so far in this rallycross format?
Yeah, it's very much a level playing field. Everyone's obviously at the same point where it's all new to us. And yet the best bit is there's some, there may be some teething problems the way the race formats and that. It's probably not as quick as we'd like, but these are all little teething problems that iRacing will sort out. And this series will go from strength to strength. There's no doubt about it. The on-track racing, the way these guys sort of give into each other a little bit of door handle to door handle stuff. We love all that sort of stuff. And the kicking up of the dirt and the racing is just brilliant. So I reckon this is a series to watch out for. I reckon it's got some real positives come from it, and the racing in the short amount of time that we've had has just been awesome.
For sure, yeah, and I assume you've had a go at the rallycross cars. As we've asked a few of the guys, about what their favourite tracks are. I mean, of the ones you've tried, have you got a particular favourite that's jumped out? Is Daytona one that you're finding, is a quite nice track here for the rallycrosses?
Yeah, for me, Daytona's short. I haven't done too much on the long stuff at this stage, but the short I have, and I've really enjoyed that. I tell you what, it's a little bit of getting your head around it, though. It's certainly a different beast to what we're all used to, but the addition of dirt to iRacing has just been unreal. We saw the Knoxville Nationals, the Aussie Knoxville Nationals last night with the sprint cars, and now to throw it in with the road track racing with Rallycross, it's awesome.
For sure, yeah, and as you say, only going to go from strength to strength as the new year, and more tracks will be added, of course, and it'll just be refined further and further. But I mean, again, thanks for coming in, Sam. Man, I don't know if you're planning to stay around, but if you want to, you're obviously more than welcome to. So just putting it out there.
No, boys, I'll let you call this awesome action, but I'll sit tight.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much, Sam. So, Sam dropping in. Awesome to have him in and have a chat before we go to the next heat, which is just up now. We've got practice going for about halfway through the practice session, and again, we've got some of the big names here yet again, and we're seeing the narrowing of the field here as we see some of the names we've seen from heats before. So we've got Luca Jackerman here for ERT, Daniel Ackland, who'll be looking for redemption, I would say, after having a bit of a difficult last heat, so be looking for a bit of redemption here. Tommy Harradine is in this one as well. Then you've got Zach Radich for West End Mazda. Then we've got Michael Healy here as well, who we've been seeing has been looking really strong in these rallycross cars. So I'll be watching him to be right up there battling at the front. Richard Hampstead, who we obviously saw challenging Josh Rogers last race in a very tight battle for the win there between the TTL crew. Stuart Vaughan and Tom Callaghan rounds out your field for this race. And I tell you what, Cam, I think this battle for the win could be really tight because we've seen Healy's quick here. We've got Richard Hampstead and Luca Jackerman. They're all three of these guys have been challenging for wins in their respective heats, and they're all together in the one heat. So this could be a really fascinating race to watch here.
Yeah, definitely. You've got a very, very deep range of talent in this race, so it's going to be very, very close and very, very tight between the entire field pretty much. So it's going to be absolutely awesome to see who's actually going to come out on top in this one.
For sure, yeah, and just seeing as well, they've got Michael Healy sporting the Rockstar Fiesta as well. A very nice livery there from him. And you know, again, it goes without saying at this point, but I always like to say it's always really great seeing the liveries that are on display. I mean, obviously, RallyCross has only just come out in the last few weeks, but already we've got some absolutely beautiful cars out there on track. It's really great seeing the livery makers getting around it straight away. They're always very quick to get deliveries out there with the new cars, and it's always really good seeing them putting so much effort into these deliveries because it just makes the racing that much more appealing and exciting to watch when the cars looking as pretty as they are. I think we may not have any Volkswagens this time. No, we got one. Sorry, Tommy Harry-Dean. Oh, and Zach. Sorry, well, we have three. There we go. So instantly showing me what's going on. But I think, yeah, Vaughn, Harry-Dean, and Zach are the three Volkswagens. So good to see we've got a nice even split here of cars. Nearly perfectly even. Not quite, but just about. So it's good to see the Volkswagen getting repped here in this heat, as there's Stuart Vaughan going out in his Volkswagen as well. So going to be a very, very tight heat, I suspect. Luca's got the jump here in practice so far, but I mean, we've seen, haven't we, so far in the race cam, just because you're quick on in practice or qualifying doesn't mean you're going to run away with it in the race.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been chaotic and very, very mixed bag of results so far tonight. So can't really discount anyone at all at this point in the night. So it's going to be very interesting to see who comes away with this one. I'd say it's either going to be Jackman or Hampstead possibly who'll take it out. Possibly even Callahan, who could even be the dark horse. But it's going to be very interesting to see who actually comes out on top in this one, with also Healy even there in the mix. So going to be interesting, and I'm not really going to place my bets just yet.
There we go, Jay. Just mentioning he's going for Healy for the win, which I'd almost back him as well, to be honest. I mean, Healy's shown in the EMR Super Cup how quick he is, and even in the V8 Supercars, he's no slouch either. And he's shown, in my mind, seems to have a pretty good head on his shoulders. He's certainly in the Porsches, and pretty much anything I've seen him drive, he's always seemed to be a very stable pair of hands. Quick, but very consistent, very clean. Keeps his nose out of trouble and gets results through that, as well as just being genuinely very quick. So, and he's gone quickest in practice here by a couple of tenths, which helps too. But yeah, I think I'm looking at him as well. Though Harry-Dean's put in a real nice time, 41.2 here in practice, so showing some pace here. 1.2 seconds between the whole field at the moment. So again, it just shows how close this is, and just you never really tell. You never know. You can have a bit of a guess, but you don't know for sure with RallyCross because it can all go wrong so very quickly. And all it takes is that one slight misstep, hit a tyre barrier slightly too hard, or get at the wrong contact with someone at the wrong place of the track, and it can all go very, very badly wrong. So we will see, though. I think this is going to be a really close one. Now it's the second between the whole field here in practice. So I'm rubbing my hands together for this here, Cam. It's almost like a pre-final, I think, with how close the field is.
Yeah, definitely. It's very, very close. So going to be quite a very spectacular race, I reckon. And hopefully we don't have too much carnage. Although, from a viewer's perspective, it wouldn't be a bad thing to have, just to spice things up. But yeah, with qualifying only about 30 seconds away, it's going to be very interesting to see who polls it.
Sure, yeah, and it could well be as and I guess me and Corey are trying to push here at V8's Online. Could be a very crazy race. Who knows? We'll see. Here for this fourth round of heats of OSR Rallycross here at Daytona Long. Very difficult trying to keep track of how many heats they just keep coming, don't they? The races just keep coming, relentless as we work our way to the final. But practice just about finishing now. Got the last couple of seconds in this practice session, then we'll head to the qualifying session once again, and they'll get 2 more laps to try and put themselves in the prime spot to stay out of that last position and try and win this heat and continue working towards that final, which should be only a couple more rounds of heats away here for OSR's Thursday Night Rallycross starting here this week. So the qualifying has now begun as we wait for the cars to go out. I'm trying to think of who we will watch. I'll see if I can pick up. We will watch Healy. There we go. So Jay, straight on the call. I think actually Stuart Vaughan. Actually, really might be one of the last out. So waiting a little bit longer than everybody else, already weaving the tyres as well, trying to get some heat into them as they head towards the line. Obviously, you come out of the pits here straight into the last corner, so you only really get about 100 metres really or so to get the tyres warmed up before you into the lap already. So Healy chucking it into the chicane over the jump, using all the road and some front end, getting a bit dented as well from that landing, but you expect that with RallyCross, looking pretty smooth through the double right-hander. In the back end out there, getting around the corner, not going too wide either, didn't to cut it too close with the sword there on the exit. And again, looking very smooth, very consistent here. Maybe not as erratic or on the edge as we've seen some of the others, but just looking really controlled so far, isn't he, Cam?
Yeah, he definitely is. He's very, very precise at the moment, and he's looking like he's got the car very, very hooked up at the moment. So it's going to be a very quick lap time this time by.
Yeah,
He
there
goes
you go.
straight to the top of the 40.909, which is quite quick as we'll jump on board with Hampstead real quick to see what he can do in terms of a lap time.
And I think you can already see, just in that little section, I already see the difference in aggression there. A little bit more aggression from Hampstead, just chucking the car in a little bit more authoritatively almost than he was there on his lap. But he's not quite been able to pip him. He's about a tenth, if that, off. It's all very close out of all the qualifiers so far as Hampstead comes through the final corner now. Will it be enough to pip Harradine and Healy at the top? Not quite. He doesn't quite beat his first time, so he's going to have to settle with a 41.078 there. As we'll look at Luca Giacomin now, I don't think had his first lap counted, so he's relying on this second lap. How's it going to be? A 41 flat, near or less, or near as makes no difference, but only enough for fourth place for Luca Giacomin, the man who we saw fighting with Dane Warren for the win in the first heat we had here on this broadcast. Fourth place in this qualifying session. I'm pretty sure we have got everyone done. I'll just run through and check. Yep, looks like everyone has done their 2 laps, so we now have our grid for this race. Everyone getting it done very quickly. Is Harradine drills the start finish line post there just to round off his run. But I guess we'll go through the grid as it's on your screens now. And on pole will be Michael Healy, the only driver to get into the 40s in that session with a 40.909. Tommy Harradine not going to get it as Luca Giacomin actually did have one more left. I thought he'd done his laps, so apologies there. He actually had one more apparently, so he must have done something with the first lap there. So we'll have that updated. But Luca Giacomin nearly gets Healy, but not quite. Misses by pretty much 100th of a second on Healy. That's how close that is. So it is still Michael Healy who will be on pole, though, here in this heat. Luca Giacomin in second with a 40.292. Tommy Harradine with a 41.049. Really showing some pace here in this heat and seeming to be coming leaps and bounds. The heats keep coming. He's just getting stronger from Harradine, showing it up there with the big boys here, VRC, TTR, and TTL. So good stuff from Harradine. Richard Hampstead only fourth with his 41.078. A good time, but that's how close it is in this series. So only fourth for TTL. Daniel Ackland is going to be fifth for SSR with the 41.62. Tom Callaghan is going to be in sixth with 41.343. Zach Radich going to be seventh with a 41.668. And then Stuart Vaughan rounds out your field for PMS with a 42.83. And there's your 8 cars for this heat. I tell you what, that is just pretty insane, really. I think, Cam, how close that field is here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very, very close at the moment. So it's going to be quite interesting when they head into turn 1. Who's going to come out in one piece and who's possibly going to do a bit of a bump and run sort of style thing, as you tend to see in Rallycross, as we've also seen tonight from a couple of guys. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who actually comes out on top and who actually doesn't go through.
For sure, yeah. And I mean, as was mentioned, I mean, Callaghan's one to watch here. He's only a few tenths off Healy in the top guy's pace, but he's in that sort of position where he's not quite at the front, and could potentially dodge any shenanigans that happen right at the front. If they all get a bit of a bit of an even launch, go into that first corner 4 or 5 wide, you never know. Then Tom could be in that position to just avoid the carnage and slip through, and possibly even get onto the podium if he can play his cards right. So it's all very close here. I mean, even Zach and Stuart, they're more or less there to have a chance of doing all right here. It's just all going to be about how they do over each lap of this 10-lap race. Again, remember, 2 jokers need to be taken here from all drivers. So I would imagine we'll see most take their first one straight away. It seems to be the trend. Get that first one out of the way so that you don't have to worry about it later on. But we'll see. Again, I think this is going to be possibly the most optimal showing we've had so far. of the importance of using that joker well, because of how close it is. You just, that joker can be so important for even jumping 2 or 3 positions if the qualifying is anything to go by. So we've got a really juicy race on our hands here. It's the 4th round of heats here for OSR RallyCross here on V8's Online. The first round of the new season, newly created season on OSR, as we get ready for this heat. Just waiting, I think, on Luca Jackerman to get onto the grid before we start. I think Zach as well, or Stuart further back, but looking like a real juicy one this is. This could be a really close race, but the field is set. We're ready to go here for yet more action here at Daytona for Rallycross, and we are... Flight staying on for quite some time, and we're now go for the field. And it looks like Healy's got the jump very nicely on the inside, just pipped Jackerman off the line, but they're going to be side by side into turn 1. Who's going to get it? It's going to be Healy takes the lead. Great start from Michael Healy, just what he needed. And that's going to have him clear as they come through this rhythm section for the first time. Everyone's slotting in really well, actually, through that area. That was some really good racing from everyone. They're all very sensible, all slipped in behind each other, didn't do anything too crazy. Managed to get through, actually, the first part without any instance, although Tom Callaghan at the back of the field just drills one of the tyre barriers, and that's led to contact with him and Stuart Vaughan, so some issues further back. But the top 6, oh no, he's gone. Oh, Hampstead's gone. That's him now all the way to the back of the field, more or less. So suddenly he's in danger of last chance. It's side by side between Ackland and Zach Radich as well. He's up to P3 out of all, or P4 out of all this. Is I think nearly everybody at the front taking their joker, but Radich and a couple of the guys further back not taking that chance, and it's going to be a really close battle over P4 right now.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a argy-bargy situation just before, but they've pretty much kept it clean for the most part through the first lap. Oh, and someone else has been... Oh, and there's a big moment.
Oh, Hampstead again. Oh, and Hampstead's gone round, and suddenly he's in line. He hasn't had to turn around. I tell you what, Hampstead is going to need someone to crash big time, because he is a long way off the rest of the field. So this could be one of the big shock eliminations here tonight. Richard Hampstead in the box seat to possibly be relegated to the last chance qualifier here for this heat, as we've got a replay on screen, Cup Price Racing replay for you now on screen. It looks like, I mean, as you said, he just came up on the 2 behind, contact in front of him. He had nowhere to go and had to drill the tyre barrier there. So a bit of an innocent bystander of an incident in front of him, and that has led to him at the very back of this field, as the teammates Radich and Harradine still battling over P3 as well in the Beatles. So, I tell you what, this is it's lived up to its expectation, I think, so far, Cam.
Yeah, definitely. It's been quite a topsy-turvy race now that we have seen what's happened in the past few laps. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top, with the fact that Jackerman and Healy are quite a ways away from the rest of the field. And Jackerman's possibly going to look to try and get by if he can pick up the pace a little bit. And it's looking like he's got decent pace. He just needs to work on trying to get the traction down a little bit better out of the corner.
Sure, yeah, and he'll be looking to try and get the win in this heat on Michael Healy, who has been, so far, just taking a nice, easy lead jump and keeping the gap to Luca. And he's looking pretty solid, although Luca has just disappeared. Oh, there he is, just reappeared again. A bit of an internet problem there. Be hoping for his sake that doesn't keep happening, because if it does go too far, he might lag out, and that's really what you don't want in these races. You just don't have time to get back in and recover. So Luca Jackman, though, holding on in second. The gap pretty much staying stable. I think Healy just slightly gapping him there. We've got a really juicy battle for third as well. Tommy Harradine drills the tyre barrier, and he's stuck on the jumpers. Oh no! Big crash!
Oh, that's a big shot.
Tom Callahan just comes over, and there's a beetle sitting right in his path, and he has nowhere to go. This could be, and it is, look, Richard Hampstead's coming up, and he's going to take Tom Callaghan. I've got a replay on screen, Cup Price Racing replay of that massive shunt. Poor old Tom's just come over the chicane onto the jump, and there's a beetle right in his way, and he has absolutely drilled him and done about 3 or 4 rolls, somehow still landed on his wheels and has kept going. That was, I mean, if that isn't it doesn't show sort of what Rallycross is about, Cam, I don't know what does.
Yeah, that he had absolutely nowhere to go and no time to react. In fact, he probably actually didn't know he wasn't actually going to have contact because of the way that Ackland was sitting. So, bit unfortunate for Tom there, but he's kept it going despite the car being a little bit worse for wear than what it was previously.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's still continuing, so hopefully he can try and get something back out of this, and you'll be definitely hoping for someone else to try and have a moment.
Yeah, for sure. As we're just looking at Ackland and Tommy Harradine going out as well. This is for P4. Harradine, of course, the one who got drilled by Tom Callaghan. He's got a very, very sorry looking front end of that Beetle. Apparently the pace of it's still good because he's still holding on from Ackland at the moment, but Ackland looking very pacey in that SSR car as he's trying to work his way through the field and into the top 4. Zach Radich is having a nice quiet race in third now. I'll be pretty happy with how this is all played out for him. Keep in mind, Stuart Vaughan and Hampstead are behind this too, and they're recovering as well. So he might have a 4-car battle for P4, which could be very juicy indeed. In fact, Hampstead's looking like he might have a go at Stuart Vaughan as well as he goes up the inside. The hairpin, chucks it in, sends it up the inside, and that is a move done. Vaughan not making it too hard there. I think he knows obviously that Hampstead, the quicker driver, and not wanting to fight it too hard. And as we're watching Ackland look this looking really juicy on Harradine. Has a look up the inside, the hairpin, a little bit of maybe a little touch there on the way through, but he's made the move. Good move from Ackland. Harradine's hit the tyre barrier. Yep, and he's going to, look out. Contact again. Yeah, I think Harradine trying to get recovering now. He probably should have, if anything, gone the other way. Maybe tried to reverse out of the way rather than trying to put the gas on. But either way, it's, as we saw before, it's such a hard section to have to recover on. It's probably one of the worst places on the track to have to recover the cars. Oh, he got absolutely drilled by Hampstead, and I believe that blew his engine as well by the looks of it. So that's the second car out. Callaghan's out as well. So last chance qualifier, I think at this point it's going to be Callaghan. So that's sorted. So at the moment, it's all good for all these guys. They're all managed to avoid the last chance qualifier, and they are safe. So that's not as much as on the line, but that doesn't mean obviously as you still want to finish well in these heats. So there's still that there as well. As Jackerman has Jackerman has dropped right back there. Jay just pointing out, and his last lap was a 48.6, and he's going very slowly. I don't know. I was picked up. Yeah, he got damage over the jump we're hearing from Jay. I'm just having a look back. He was already going slow before that. I'm going to try and go back and figure out what the go is here. Oh, there it is. He had contact.
The jump, and then he hit the tyre bundle.
Yeah, lap 8. Yeah, he just got a moment and then drilled the tyre barrier, and that's why he's dropped back. I don't think the damage is permanent. He's able to keep going, or is anything noticeable to the handling of the car, but he's certainly got a bit of visual damage, but that has dropped him back. He's still second, though, and what this is going to mean is that Healy is going to have a pretty nice win here in this heat. We're on the final lap now after all that. 10 laps has already gone. Doesn't feel like it has with all the action that's been going on, but we're already 10 laps down here in this heat. And Michael Healy, I tell you what, there's a bit of a warning sign to the rest of the field for who to watch for in the final. I don't know what is. Michael Healy is going to win this heat for a 4th round of heats here of OSR Rallycross round 1 here at Daytona Long. Luca Jackerman, despite that moment over the jump, is still going to come home second and is still looking very, very strong for a potential finals, or for a potential good result in the finals, maybe even battling for the win if he can get it to work. Zach Radich will be really happy with that result. P3 from him from 7th on the grid. Really, really good result for Zach, managing to avoid the carnage and have a really nice result there in the Beetle. So he'll be happy with that one. Daniel Ackland comes home in P4 for SSR. Richard Hampstead, a very topsy-turvy race for him, ends up coming home 5th, so I think he'll be happy to recover that from that race. Stuart Vaughan comes home in P6, and then our retirements for Tommy Harradine and Tom Callaghan in 7th and 8th. And Callaghan, of course, will now be in the last chance qualifier to try and keep his hopes alive of staying in the fight to get to the finals. So, man, that was that really was crazy bonkers race. I think they're right there, Cam.
Yeah, it definitely was, with all sorts going on through the field, whether it be people rolling or bumping and rubbing with each other, or hitting each other, or doing all sorts of different stuff. It was an absolute chaotic race, and definitely made it quite a spectacle to watch. Probably not ideal for a couple of guys, especially the likes of Tom Callaghan and Tommy Harradine, but definitely a very interesting race, and I can't wait to see what the next few races will bring on.
For sure, yeah, and yeah, pretty much echoing that. It's showing every race, every heat, we're just getting more and more exciting, and there's more going on, and it just keeps getting better and better as we wind it down toward the final. Now we'll take another break now before we head into the next round of finals as they get set up by the series admins. So we'll take a short break now and be back with more OSR Rallycross in just a moment. You're watching on V8s Online. Hope you're enjoying the show. We'll be back in just a moment.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, and many more. iRacing.com, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
Welcome back to V8's Online here. We've got OSR RallyCross at Daytona Long, first round of this new series being, well, as we've seen so far, it's been a pretty crazy bonkers evening of racing, just been getting better and better as each heat's gone on. Seeing some somersaulting Ford Fiestas in the last race with some contact at the jump that I kind of figured at some point we were going to see something like that, because it is one of those things that you come up on that, and if someone's there, you're not going to see them until you've basically launched, and by then you're a passenger. So it's been an interesting night racing, and that last one really turned it on, that last heat, and was a bit of everything once again. Some really close fighting at the front and at the back, and then some contact and incidents as well. It's all coming to a head, I think, Cam, to be a really, really juicy proposition for the final when that comes around.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen a number of drivers eliminated now, so it's starting to get to that point where every position counts, and making sure you finish is definitely a high priority for a lot of these guys. So it's going to be very, very interesting come the final race, and I'd say it's going to be one heck of a race, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And obviously, final will be 10 cars as well. So there'll be 2 more cars out on track than what we've had in the heats. We've had 8-car heats. We'll have a 10-car final. So there'll be 2 more cars to add to the mix. And doesn't sound like much, but when you're at Rallycross, you add 2 more cars, it can be pretty significant to how things turn out in the races. So I've still got Mr. Stephen Sandman Clark in here with us. And I guess I'll just ask Sandman, ask you. I mean, are you, is this kind of what you'd expect from Rallycross as it keeps sort of heading towards a final like this, that the racing kind of just keeps getting more and more intense as it goes?
Yeah, well, the pressure's building for these guys. They know that the results are really going to start to affect the outcome of the way this is all going to unfold. So they know when they start to linger down the back that they do have to push that a little bit harder, and they probably will take risks. And you're going to see probably a little bit of nudging, a bit of door handle to door handle stuff. But there's so many unknowns with this sport. We saw the luck that Hampstead had throughout that last race. Just getting involved in other people's accidents and hitting tyre bundles and stuff like that. You don't account for those things. You just got to be on your A game and just try your best and make every position count, because we're getting towards the end.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, and we were saying before, as I've mentioned about calling it kind of the sword there, the exit of the double right-hander, that little bit of the tyre barrier that sticks out on the exit that's so easy to clip. Haven't seen anyone clip it in the heats we've been in anyway. You think it's a bit surprising? Because I would have thought that someone would have hit that by now, but so far we haven't actually seen anyone hit it. But I mean, surely coming to the finals, someone's going to drill that, I think. I just feel like it's coming.
You know what you've just done, don't you, Thomas?
Oh, yeah,
You just put the muzzle on the field, and we're probably going to be something monumental, probably in the final, but you just never know. But but that's the nature of these racetracks. There are these little quirky spots that can catch you out, because there's points to the racetrack where the cars will drift out sideways, and if you just make these little judgments wrong and incorrect, it can cost you big time.
For sure, yeah. And I mean, and something else as well, we saw a couple of times now, we've actually seen has happened throughout the heats we've been in, where the Joker lap's been a really, it's so crucial where it comes back out, because we've seen a couple of times now people coming out, and because of where it is here at Daytona, it's such a clashing of lines that it can cause some real dramas for the drivers if they come out the wrong spot. And I mean, obviously with the final with 10 cars, I mean, it's looking like that'll only potentially be more of an issue, won't it?
Yeah, that's right. I'm surprised too with the Joker lap with this series. It's almost an advantage. You need that clear air, because if you can get that clear air and get away from the traffic, it's an advantage to use that Joker lap. Where in other series, sometimes it's a real disadvantage. So it's interesting to see how these guys use their Joker lap, and of course it's something different where you have to take 2 of them too. So it's a nice little touch.
For sure, yeah. So, something to keep an eye out for. Certainly, while as we head towards the final, I think the potential ramifications of a Joker lap going wrong, as we've already seen, we've seen it cause some issues throughout the heats we've watched so far. It'll be one to watch, but the sessions are now up, so we'll join in the one that we're going to be watching here. Again, thank you for popping in for some chats, Sandman. Awesome to have you in once again. Always good to chat.
No worries, boys. Have a good call.
Yeah, thank you very much. So we'll head into our session now, and once we're in, we'll let you know the field that we have on our hands here. I can imagine it'll just keep getting better though, Cam, because obviously the more we narrow it down, we're continuing to keep the top drivers in tonight's racing. So we've got the fast guys staying in. It's just going to keep getting better and better as we go through these heats, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just going to get closer and closer and closer as the night goes along. So it's going to be quite interesting, and I've said it many, many times tonight. It's going to be a cracker of a race for that final run.
For sure. And I'm just looking now in the spectator sessions here in iRacing. I haven't joined yet, but I just look at the drivers in the session. Sorry, and a good sign, I think, of what's to come. The 3 guys I see in there: Dane Warren, Richard Hammond, Joshua Rogers. I mean, you see that when you go in a spectator session, you go, oh boy, we're going to be in for a ripper of a race here. So that's always a good sign. I think we've picked the right session to join here for this round. We've got, looks like Jamie McKnight and CJ Taylor are 2 of the other guys in this one. We'll update you of the full list in this one when they're all in. But I mean, gee, this could be a real pearl of a race, this one.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got a number of quick guys in this one, so it's going to be very, very close. And whether we'll see the drama unfold that we did in the last one is yet to be unseen, but it's going to be very interesting.
For sure, yeah. So we'll get into the session now and give you a full list once we have that available. And as we head through practice and race for what is now the 5th round of heat, as the 4th that we broadcast, we didn't have the 1st round of heats, but we've been going to the 2nd round. So 4th round of heats here on RallyCross here at OSR. V8's online. Should be, as we said, it's just getting better and better as we go, and I can imagine the battling at least should be really, really close here. And hopefully we won't have too many big incidents. Hopefully we can have a nice clean run and have some really intense battling throughout the whole field. Certainly the caliber of driver is there to produce that by the looks of it. So we should hopefully be in for a real cracker of a race here. At this circuit. Daytona long, of course, not using the short circuit, using the long layout, adds that little hairpin at the top of the circuit and another dirt asphalt transition, and makes that rhythm section really almost scary, because you're really close to hitting the walls and the tyre barriers. And I mean, as we've seen, Cam, isn't it? You just hit that tyre barrier the wrong way and you can just be basically dead, essentially, in these cars.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen it quite a few times, actually. Those tyre bundles aren't kind, to put it simply, to the drivers. You can get away with a little bit of a touch, but the moment you turn it in just a little bit too early, it bites you back. And we've seen actually quite a bit that it can possibly cause quite a bit of carnage.
Yeah, for sure. And as you say, I mean, if you hit a place, especially if there's people behind you, they may, I mean, with a rolling tyre bundle, it's always hard to judge where to go. And if they come at the wrong point, they might just suddenly T-bone this tyre bundle. And sometimes the cars can react in some very funny ways to hitting them. And you can be a little bit of a passenger in these cars. So I believe have our field. I'm just trying to see. Michael Cracknell has apparently joined, but I'm not seeing him on the list. But I'm guessing he'll be popping up soon. But of the drivers we have 7 in here at the moment. We've got Joshua Rogers, Cam J. Taylor, who's been looking very strong in his heat so far. Luca Jackerman here once again. Emily Jones, Dane Richard Hampstead, and Jamie McKnight your lineup here so far. So we have a really, really juicy battle for the lead. We could have a 4 or 5 car, almost whole field really, battle for the lead with the caliber of driver we have in here. So looking like a very, very nice little heat we've got lined up. Joshua Rogers currently leading the timesheets, although Hampstead's just beaten him as if he heard me. Thank you there, Richard. But he now leads the timesheets on the practice session with a 41.41. But again, really close. And then Rogers just goes, what was that, about 41s? So he puts in a 40.519 here in practice. So the consistency of pace is certainly there as they go around the circuit. And as I said, that left tyre bundle still hasn't caught anyone out in the heats we've watched. But as Sam mentioned, now I've said it, I'm assuming and just expecting that we'll get a whole field wipeout here and just everyone will drill it. That's what I'm expecting. Because usually when we say something like this, it means that it all goes to complete bonkers levels off the scale. So we'll see how it goes though. So the drivers continue to do laps here, get in the groove before qualifying. And I mean, as I mentioned before, Cam, I mean, the jump here in Rallycross, it's so crucial, isn't it, to get that start, because it can really shape how the rest of your race goes. And if you get a bad start, it can put you out of the contention pretty much. But if you get a really good one, it can put you in a really good step for the rest of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very much key to getting a good start here, especially with the fact that you're 3x3, usually, depending on the number of cars that are in the server. But yeah, it's critical to getting a good start so that you can get that run into turn 1. But as we've seen in the night so far, that it's not actually all that critical to a good start, but it does tend to actually help a little bit.
For sure, yeah. I guess the main thing probably is it helps dodge some potential carnage further back. If you get that good start, you can keep your nose clean and stay out of trouble. Looks like we'll have about 7 cars in this one. Michael Cracknell's said to have connected the session, but he isn't showing up in all this. So I think we will have 7 cars in this heat. So one less than we've been used to having, but not going to mean the racing will be any less exciting because we have, as we said, the caliber of driver. Nearly all these drivers, every one of these drivers are shown they're, very quick in these cars. So could have a really, really juicy battle, not just for the lead, but all throughout the field. Especially trying to stay at that last place. It's almost impossible to pick at this point because we've seen already. I mean, Hampstead last heat was looking strong, looking all sorted to have a good result, and then blink of an eye, it's all gone wrong. He's at the back, so you really don't know how it will all pan out until it's happening, really, because anything can happen in these cars. But I don't know. I'm thinking I've got to go Rogers for this one. I bet you can. But I'm thinking I've got to go Rogers for this one. But I mean, thinking Hampstead and Jackham are mod ones to watch to have a good challenge to him. And obviously Dane Warren has shown he's no slouch either. So I mean, I'm probably going to go Josh, but we've got 4 people in my mind who have a real chance of winning this one.
Yeah, definitely. Josh is probably going to be another runaway with this one sort of race, I reckon. But we could possibly even see Hampstead or Warren or even Jones possibly come into this. So it's going to be very, very close, I reckon.
Yeah, exactly. And Jay's mentioning as well, obviously Emily Jones, another one you never discount, showing that she's just as quick in these things as she is in the V8 supercars. So always one to watch, especially if a lot of shenanigans or carnage occurs up front. She's always in that position to pick up the pieces. So I'll be watching her to see how she goes here. And people like Jamie McKnight showing he's no slouch in these rallycross cars. I mean, same with Cam Taylor's had some good results in the heats he's been in so far. So it's who knows? It could really anyone here could win this one if the cards fall right for them. So I'm just noticing actually Taylor's got a very interesting paint scheme, a lot of very vibrant colours, and then light blue rims. Definitely stands out. I got to say, his car there. And again, good to see the variety of colours on the grid here. So again, some really pretty, really good looking liveries ready. As I said, cars have only been out for a few weeks and we've already got some fantastic liveries that have been put together by the various teams and various livery makers out there for iRacing. So we've got about a minute to go. It's practice session before we head to qualifying and then head to the race again. Another 10 laps, 2 joker laps once again, as is the usual so far, or as is the norm so far tonight. And as we said, it's so hard to pick who'll get the win here. Though I'm not sure. As I say, I think I'll agree with Cam that Josh should, assuming things go his way, should have this one in the bag. But I mean, we've already seen multiple times tonight that it's nowhere near as simple as that in the actual race scenario. So we'll see how this one pans out once we get into it. Got about 30 seconds left in this practice session. I was just watching Dane Ryan still flying around doing laps. Good to see he's in the session we're watching. I think we haven't actually seen Dane since that very first heat, so it's good to see we've caught Dane again in this one, and we can see how he goes. He's just going flying off into the fence there just to finish off his practice session. Why not have a bit of a drilling there just to finish that one off? So there he goes. Heading to qualifying and see how we go. We'll probably want to be watching Josh Rogers from the start because he'll be the one to watch in qualifying. Been showing that he's certainly, and as he's shown in the V8 Supercars as well, always a very quick qualifier, able to just as good in a race scenario, but seems to have a really particular skill for putting that one lap together, doesn't he, Cam? He can just get it right in a qualifying scenario and put in absolute monster laps in nearly any car he seems to drive.
Yeah, absolutely. He's very, very quick, whether it be a qualifying session, a pre-qualifying session, or even a race. So would not be surprised if he does pole it once again. But once again, there are a couple of drivers that we can't discount at all.
For sure, yeah. So we'll see how this all pans out as they go out now to do their first laps. Obviously, no real outlap to worry about because they start at the last corner. So watch how Josh Rogers is going to go here. And I think after this one, we have 2 more races to go after this one, I believe, before we go through the final. So we're getting down to the final final list of drivers for that final race, that top 10, which, as I said, I mean, there's been a lot of heats to watch so far, but they've all been very entertaining, and just the way this is going, it's really shaping up to be a super exciting final that we've got on our hands. But Rogers, there he goes in qualifying, first lap of 40.557, under half a tenth of his fastest lap for pretty much half a tenth of his fast lap practice. In fact, you know what? He's just pulled it over and gone, you know what? I think that's enough. So he's done the one lap, and that's enough. But I tell you what, one who's done very well, Emily Jones, a 40.815, puts her second right now in this field. Great first lap from Emily Jones as he chucks the car into the hairpin at the back of the circuit. Really tight line, really did well there. Managed to keep it very tight, keep the momentum going. This could be a really quick lap here as she goes through the rhythm section there in what is basically out of the first corner in the road course and into the infield section. The hairpin here at the final corner of the lap, and let's have a look. Is this an improvement? It is a 40.790, and there you go. Emily Jones sitting second right now. I think that will be effective because I'm pretty sure that everyone else has done 2 laps. I'm just looking back now. I think we've got Luca, we've got Cam J Taylor finishing as well, but he doesn't improve on his first lap, so that should be the effective order of this field. Potentially. And it's actually, no, sorry, it's 3 laps. Sorry, 3 laps to go, isn't there? So Rogers has actually gone back out as well, which is
And
interesting
it
to
goes
see.
quicker.
Oh, wow, and yeah. So apparently Rogers just thought, I won't do another one, but no, let's do another one. just drill the field a bit more into the ground. So there you go, 40.348. I'm pretty sure that's the quickest lap we've seen all night. That is a super quick lap. Credit to Emily Jones, though, 40.8, 40.7, 40.9. The consistency is there. Dane has not improved. Luca has not either. Neither is Richard. And I think we're nearly done. I think we're just waiting on Cam to do this lap. Does he improve? No, he doesn't. So there you go. So that will sort the field for this race. So the top 4 in this race are gonna make the final. So and in the other race as well. So they'll be in for this one. And then the rest outside the top 4 in the last chance qualifier, which will be after this one, to sort out the main field. So there you go. So it should be a absolute cracker of a last chance qualifier. But 3 minutes up, so we've got a little bit more time in the session, but obviously everyone's laps, so we can go onto the grid and show that for you. So Joshua K. Rogers on pole again with a 40.348. He just keeps finding more time. You think he's going fast, and then he just goes a bit more and just says, well, here's a bit more time, just so you're aware. So there's a 40.348. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty confident it's the fastest lap we've seen all night. Here to take the pole for this heat. Emily Jones, a really, really good performance from her with a 40.79, puts her second on the grid and in a really good spot to be straight through the final in this heat if she can hold position there in second. Not going to be easy though, because of course she's got Dane Warren with 40.856 behind her in third, Luca Jackerman with 40.886 in fourth, and Richard Hamstead at 40.896 in fifth. So that battle for second is going to be just so close throughout this race. Cam J Taylor in sixth with a 41.104, and then Jamie McKnight rounds out your field with a 2.046 in seventh. I'll tell you what, Cam, this battle for second, it could be just completely bonkers right now with how close that qualifying was.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to go off its rocker, I reckon, this race with how close it is. So can't discount anyone with how close it is, and it's just going to be one heck of a race.
Well, for sure, yeah. It's going to be really turned on, I think, in this one. As we said, one less than we've had in previous heats, only 7 in this one. But that's not really meaning that it's going to be any less exciting than the ones we've seen before. And as we said, I think it's going to be even more exciting, if anything else. So we have completed qualifying, and they're going to be going to the grid now as we get ready to go in this race. So, I think, as we said, I think Josh Rogers will be the pick here to take the win. If he can get a clean start, stay out of trouble, he should be on to take this one. But it's that battle for second that's going to be crucial, all the way down to 5th and 6th, and that will be really important. As we said, the top 4 for this race will make it through to the final, and that's going to be crucial for how the lay of the land is as we head towards the end of the night. So just waiting, I think, on a couple of the guys at the back to line up. I believe we're just waiting on... Nope, we've got everyone there, so lights are on, and we're ready to go for this heat of racing here for OSR RallyCross. Who will it be in this heat as they are now... Go, green flag, and the field are away into turn 1. It's a pretty even start at the front. I think Dane Warren may have got the jump, but he's on the outside. Can he hold it around the outside? He will. He's going to try and hold it on Joshua Rogers into the chicane. They're still too wide all the way down the field. Can they make it work? Oh, Rogers hit the
Oh, nearly jumped
as well.
with Jackerman.
Oh, Big crash. Oh, yeah, Jackerman and Jones are gone at the back, and that is a big moment for them. We'll probably get a Cup Cross Racing replay of that one, and it just looks like into the tyre barriers. Yeah, they've gone side by side, and it's so hard to do that through that section. It's so tight, and unfortunately, they've kind of come into, lines have clashed, and it's led to contact between the two. So big moments there, and that is pretty crucial right now, because that now means Jack, as we're back in the leaders now, but Jackerman is just outside of the drop, but Joshua Rogers is going to take his Joker straight off the bat, get it done, as is Hampstead, and Hampstead's going to come out side by side with Dane Warren. Oh, well done there from Hampstead, pulls it up and avoids contact, which we've seen already how easy it is to cause a big wreck coming out of the Joker lap in that section. But well done there from Hampstead to be aware of where Dane was, but Rogers leads, and it's Dane Warren second, and we've got Richard Hampstead third. Cam J. Taylor sitting in fourth, looking very nice there. Just kept his nose clean early on. He's sitting pretty in fourth right now. And then we've got and Emily Jones is out. There we go. Oh, heavy damage to the front right of that car. I might see if I can go back and see. Oh, yeah, into the hairpin. Heavy contact with the wall, though. It looks like she'd already had contact before that. Oh, yeah. Looks like there's some heavy damage there somewhere on the line. Oh, yeah. I think that contact with Luca may have caused some major damage to that Focus. That was crabbing very, very badly. So she'll be through the last chance qualifier, though. So they'll have one chance to get back into the final. So it's not all over for just yet. But either way, it is, as I said before, it's Josh Rogers from Dane Warren. We've got Richard Hampstead, Cam J. Taylor. Luca Jackerman is in fifth, and then Jamie McKnight currently sits in sixth and is in the last chance qualifier for the moment, as is Luca Jackerman, which is pretty crucial because he's one of the guys who were picking for a strong finals berth. And right now, Cam, was Warren and Rogers are going at it for the lead. Yeah, Warren's taken the Joker lap and
Rogers hit the tyre bundle as well.
Yeah, and hit the tyre bundle all the way through. And oh, look at that, taking the jump very, very aggressively. Dane has got the eyes on, doesn't he? He really wants to win in this heat.
Yeah, he does. He's very, very quick at the moment, and he's got to do one more Joker lap, I believe.
For sure, yeah, I think he does. Look at that.
No,
Dane,
he actually doesn't. Never mind, but he's definitely got some pace at the moment.
Yeah,
so
he's actually.
I reckon he's going to get by.
Yeah, and he's taken and so is Dane. So both of them have taken their Joker laps straight away, which is going to be interesting at the end. Hampstead's still got one to go. Cam Taylor's got to do one as well. Luca Jackerman hasn't done Joker at all, so he's got that up his sleeve as well. And then McKnight has to do one more as well. So could be pretty crucial to battle at the front, but certainly for Hampstead, he's now taken his second Joker, so that's now done. Cam's also taken his second Joker, so the top four have all taken their Jokers. Jackerman's not yet. He's still yet to do a single Joker for this race. He is a long way or fair distance back from fourth, but I mean, if they start getting into each other up the front and he can use those Jokers well, he might be able to start challenging back into the again. And yeah, bottom three, as Jay just mentioned, is there are in the LCQ. So at the moment, that is Jackerman, Jones, and Jamie McKnight are all into the LCQ at the moment. And that's the big one, really. The big
Warren's lost it as well. He's hit the tyre bundle.
Oh, he has, yeah. He's gone round. Oh, big moments for Warren, and he's just going to beat Jackerman out, which is crucial for his chances into the final. At the moment, he's safe. But, I mean, we've seen Jackerman's got the pace. He was chasing him down in the first heat we had on this broadcast. And I'll just go back and we'll probably get a Cup Price Racing replay of that if it wasn't live already. And yeah, look at that. Just went a little bit too far to the right. Simple little error, really. No pressure, no contact. And Jackerman, we're being told, is catching him as well. So just one of those, it's a little bit of an unforced error from Dane Warren at a really crucial time. He did not need that, as he was looking pretty in second spot to comfortably make it to the final. But at the moment, it's not all plain sailing for him, is it?
No, not really. He's still got a bit to go, so
it's
interesting to see. Oh yeah, he has actually. So it's got to be careful.
Yeah, it's as we said, it's so easy. As we saw just then, you hit it angle a bit too hard and it'll just send you into the fence, which is what Dane had then. But Joshua Rogers at the moment having a nice cruisy lead over his teammate Richard Hampstead. Cam J. Taylor's probably been the driver of the heat so far. He's just kept his nose clean and he's sitting pretty in third spot to make it straight through the final, which I'm sure he'd be absolutely chuffed with right now. But he does have Dane Warren and Luca Jackerman coming at him, and Jackerman is, as we said, he's noticeably closing on Dane Warren right now, and I think he's still got one more. He has one more Joker in hand, and I don't think Dane does. Dane doesn't. So this could be really, really close. I think these two will be fighting, almost fighting like for a win, because if they can get that fourth, they don't have to worry about the last chance qualifier, and they can just go straight through the final and not have to stress. But the rate they're going, well, for Jackerman, he's going to have one more chance in the last chance qualifier to make it to the final, which is not what I would have picked earlier at the start of this heat, Cam. But as we said, I guess that's RallyCross, isn't it? Just anything can happen throughout these heats.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be very interesting to see whether Jackerman can actually get the move done or not on Warren, and whether Warren ends up in the last chance qualifier or not. I reckon Warren should hold on. There's 2 laps to go for him, so he hasn't got too much to do in the way of trying to hold on, but you can't really say what is actually going to happen as we've seen. Oh, Jackerman's actually at the tyre bundle.
Yeah, and that's
I think Warren's safe now.
Yeah, and that's so crucial because, as I said, Lucas still got one more joker lap up his sleeve, and he was right in the ideal spot to jump him with the joker lap. But now he's got it all to do. It's still going to be very close with the joker lap, but he would have probably had him had he just held line or held position. But now that he's had that little bobble, it's made it a little bit harder. He's going to have to close him once again on Dane before he does that second joker. Going to leave, by the looks of it, till the very last lap to do the joker, so we could have a grandstand finish for that fourth spot. But at the moment, Joshua Rogers up at the front, actually slowing down. He's been cruising around did a 43 last lap, so I think he's just bringing it home at the moment for what should be a heat win once again for him, and will pretty firmly stamp his authority on chances of at least being a top 3, if not going for the win, of course, in the final. Coming through the final corner for the last time, it'll be Joshua Rogers with another win for TTL. Richard Hamstead's teammate shadowing him once again in second spot with Cam J. Taylor, probably the driver of the heat, I would say, in P3. But look at this, here goes Luca Jackerman, takes his joker lap on the very, very last lap of the race. Who's it going to be? Here comes Dane. Oh, he's lost it out of the lap.
Yeah, Jackerman's managed to get it.
Oh, because Dane lost it out of the last corner. He got in a bit too hot by looks of it. Yeah, he's lost the rear. I think he tried to use a bit of handbrake in the last corner. It just hasn't worked by looks of it. He's come in too hot, come in about as he usually would. Tried to use the handbrake to get round, and it just hasn't worked. Just bogged down, and he's lost all momentum, and that was it. And Luca's through. So big moments here in this race. So there you go. So I think all the cars have crossed the line. So we'll give you a full rundown of the list. Results are on screen. So it's Joshua K. Rogers with the win over Richard Hamstead. 2.7 seconds in the end. And as we said, especially for both of those two, really stamping their authority as big contenders for the win in the final. Cam J. Taylor, as I said, I really think he was the driver of that heat from 6th on the grid to 3rd. Probably didn't quite have the pace of the likes of Jackerman and Warren, but just kept his nose clean to come home in 3rd. So I think he'll be really happy with that. He's through the final. And then Luca Jackerman, as we saw, saved that joker for the last lap and was able to just pip Dane Warren, and he's through the final. And so that now means that Dane Warren, 5th in this heat, is going to be in the last chance qualifier. So big moments for him. Jamie McKnight in 6th, he'll be in the last chance qualifier. And then Emily Jones, unfortunately, retired early on in that race. She'll be also in the last chance qualifier to hopefully make it through to the final. So there you go. That is that heat of racing. I believe after this we'll have the last chance qualifier, the top 2 from it make it through to the final. Then we'll have the final race of the first night of racing of OSR. So we'll take a short break now once again, and when we come back, we'll have the last chance qualifier as we barrel down on the final race of the night. You're here on V8s Online, OSR Rallycross from Daytona Long. We'll be back with you in just a bit.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, and many more. iRacing.com, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
Welcome back to V8s Online. We're here with OSR's Series Round 1, Daytona Long. Been a crazy bonkers night of racing. I think I can safely, authoritatively say that here at this point of the night. We've seen all sorts of battling and incidents throughout the heat so far. Got the last chance qualifier coming up, the last one of the night. Top 2 go through to the final, and then we'll have the final race of the night to decide the winner of round 1 of OSR Rallycross. So we've got 2 of the guys who'll be gunning for that win in that final, Richard Hampstead and Josh Rogers, in the Discord with us. Hello, boys.
How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. So I guess we'll start. I guess Richard, will start with you. I mean, how's the night's racing been for you so far?
It's been pretty clean. I think have I won one? I think I might have won one. Maybe I can't remember, but
Yeah.
I've come second a lot of times. And I think in the other one I had gotten a bit of incident, but oh no, I think I still finished second that race actually.
Yeah.
So a lot of coming second to Josh has basically been my night.
I mean, and that sort of, I guess tonight, as we've seen tonight, as the field whittled down, the competition's pretty high, especially probably for that podium is really, or even top 5, it's really close in that midfield. I mean, is there a couple of people who maybe surprised you with their pace tonight?
Yeah, definitely. I think in the last heat we just did second, third, fourth, fifth was about a tenth separating us, and definitely some guys with some good pace, especially in qual. Like Emily was third, I think, and Dane Warren, Luca. But I mean, we all knew he was going to be quick. And Rogers is just ridiculous. So yeah, it's a pretty tight battle for second at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, and how's it been for you adjusting to the Rallycross cars? I mean, obviously they're a very unique piece of machinery. So how's it been for you transferring the skills you've got another series into Rallycross?
Yeah, I really like them actually. They're very soft, so you got to be very gentle with them. But yeah, I think they're good. I'm just struggling, if anything, with quali pace at the moment. I'm just not quite there for some reason, but my race pace seems okay. So hopefully I can do well in the final.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess looking, I mean, again, I've asked everyone who's come in, what's been your I mean, out of the tracks that are on the roster so far, is Daytona one of your favourites, or do you like one of the other Rallycross tracks available a bit more?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I think Iowa's pretty good. Yeah, with the big dive bomb hairpin and that in it. That's probably my favourite, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, yeah, you can definitely send it down there. I suspect when we come there, we'll see a lot of packages being fired down the inside at that particular hairpin. So, again, thanks for coming in, Richard, and good luck for you in the final.
No worries. Cheers, guys.
Thank you. So now we'll move on to Richard's teammate, Mr. Josh Rogers. It's been a very good night for you so far. Has it been at your end?
Yeah, it's been going really, really well. I'm really feeling accustomed with the Rallycross car. Nice and soft, the way I like the car. It's really fun. The racing's been really good too, even though obviously in iRacing it's kind of frowned upon when you have a few bumps, but in Rallycross it's good that it's accepted.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, with the way the surfaces are and everything, it's bound to be a bit of bip and barge in Rallycross. But again, I guess sort of similar line of questioning to ask Richard. I mean, how's it been for you adjusting to the Rallycross cars and the unique style of driving?
I've found it quite comfortable. I think obviously the tarmac sections was pretty straightforward. Maybe the hairpin's a little bit different to what we're normally used to because you got that handbrake you can use. But on dirt, I think that was the biggest thing to try and get used to, the fact that it's not necessarily always the quickest to go sideways. But other than that, I think it's been fairly smooth sailing for me, getting used to the car, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, looking at the rest of the field, I mean, has there been any names that you've sort of seen coming? Because obviously we've had a lot of new names coming in to take or have a go at the Rallycross action here in iRacing. Has there been a few names that have kind of surprised you with their pace in the Rallycross cars?
I think Dane is always, whatever car he jumps in, he seems to surprise some people as well. Like Richard said before, I think Emily's got some pretty decent pace in this car, and then another one, Burton, who
unfortunately couldn't show up tonight, but he's showing some really promising pace in the car, and I think at least in the weeks to come, if he can make it, I'm sure we'll have some pretty good scraps coming along.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess looking into the final, I mean, it's getting more and more intense as we've been going through these heats here. You're thinking at the moment with the way this is all going, the final is going to be a pretty, 10 cars on this track. Is it, you think there could be some shenanigans, to use one of the terms I used to use a lot of shenanigans maybe in the final?
I hope not. Obviously, turn 1 can always be a little bit sketchy with 10 cars piling in there. It is a 20-lap race though, so and with 3 jokers available to use as well, we should be able to, well, everybody should be able to strategically use those to try and leapfrog your competitors. So hopefully the final will be a good race. Obviously, having the 10 fastest guys of tonight most of the time in that race. Quality will be really tight, and as always, really important. So I'm really looking forward to it. It should be really good.
Yeah, for sure. So again, thank you very much for coming in, Josh, and good luck for you in the.
All right, cheers.
Thank you. So that was Richard Hampstead and Josh Rogers popping in for a quick chat before we go to the last chance qualifiers. So the server is now up. We're 4 minutes into practice, or 5-minute practice here. So the process has been sped up a little bit. We'll be just about to go for qualifying. And it's a bit of an interesting field. We've got a couple of guys we haven't actually seen for a while. We haven't seen Brody tonight, but he has been showing some really good pace in these cars, using the Beetle at the moment. For PMS, and I don't think he's been in one of our sessions just yet, but he's been showing some really good pace here in these cars, so be watching him to be fighting for that top 2. Simon Black, the series admin, also here in the last chance qualifier. Again, another guy's been showing some good pace here in these RallyCross cars, so he'll be one to watch to be challenging for it as well. And Shannon Mason's another one we haven't seen since the first round of finals. He's been showing some really good pace in that forward, so watching him to challenge as well. So I think Dane Warren here, probably the one you'd expect to take the win here, but Brody might have a bit of a say in that, and obviously Emily Jones has shown some great pace, as has Shona Mason. So it could be a really juicy little proposition in this last chance qualifier, Cam, and that desperation might really show through, won't it? Because obviously, as we said, only the top 2 are going to make the final. So if you're not in that top 2, then that's it. So there might be a little bit of desperation in this last chance qualifier.
Yeah, definitely. And a number of those guys in this last chance qualifier can easily go through to make it into the final race, but it's going to be all about making sure you finish rather than just throwing caution to the wind. You have to be a little bit aggressive to try and make the moves happen, but it's mainly going to be about making sure you do actually finish the race rather than ending your race on lap 1 at turn 1, for example.
Yeah, for sure. And as we've seen, if you keep your nose clean, if your pace is solid and you can consistently do good laps in these cars, and just keep your nose out of trouble, you can get some really good results. As we saw last heat, we've seen in pretty much every heat there's been someone who's sort of shown that quality of just being able to keep it clean, do decent laps, and get good results. As Mason pops in into the fence, into the tyre barrier there on the left-hand side. Just got a big slide out of the last corner. That affected his lap, and also means he had to escape back to the pits. So he'll, I think, only get one more lap in this qualifying session. So this will be his last lap now. So it's all on the line for him to try and put himself up the order in this grid. So big moments here. Emily Jones at the moment leading the queue, but as I was saying there, we've seen Cam J. Taylor is probably the big one that stuck out for me in that last race. Really showed that if you just keep your nose clean, have good solid pace, and don't get yourself in any big crashes, you can really benefit from other people's misfortunes. So he'll be one to watch maybe again in the final to keep an eye out for that. But now Brody Whitmore has gone faster with a 41.105. He's got one more lap to go, I believe he does. He got one more lap, so there's one more roll of the dice before he's done. Emily Jones also has one more go. Is currently second on a 41.266. Zach Radich is now not third. That's now Shannon Mason, who's jumped into third. He now goes fourth as Dane Warren pops in a lap. And crashes, as well. Crashes on the jump. Oh, wow. That was a big crash. But I think he just done all his laps. That was his last lap, which is why he decided to have a bit of a shunt there in the fence. But that is his last lap, and he's only second right now. And Emily Jones could improve here. She comes out of the last corner. Will she improve? It does improve, but not enough to jump ahead of Dane Warren. She'll be third at the moment. I don't think anyone else has any more times to do. Yeah, Whitmore's got one more to go. I don't think, and he's just finished it now and not improved. Mason's still going around, but he didn't have a time to set, so he's done as well. So our grid is sorted. Simon Black not running, so he'll be starting at the back, I believe. So the grid for the last chance qualifier, the last race before we go to the final, is as follows. We have Brodie Whitmore on pole with a 41.105, really putting himself in the prime spot to challenge for that finals berth. Dane Warren probably be a bit disappointed that he wasn't able to get into the 40s like he has in previous sessions with a 41.246. Puts him a bit under the pump here to make the top two and make the final. Emily Jones, a 41.252, puts her third. Shannon Mason, a 41.495, puts him fourth. Him and Zach Radich, maybe a little bit of a dark horse as to watch. They've shown that they've been able to, at least Zach has in a previous heats, been able to keep his nose clean and get a good result. So they might be two drivers to watch to come through to challenge for that top two. Jamie McKnight is going to be sixth with 41.924. Luke Meyer with a 42.4 is seventh. And I believe Simon Black might be taking the grid. I'm not actually quite sure if he's racing or if he's just in for admin purposes. But either way, this should be a cracker of a last chance qualifier, Cam. There's a lot on the line here to sort this final grid.
Yeah, definitely is. And it's going to be all about making sure you're consistent, don't make any mistakes. There's a lot at stake here in this race to make sure you try and make it to that final race. But it's going to be very interesting to see who actually goes through and who unfortunately misses out.
For sure, yeah. As I believe the grid is set, it is indeed. So Simon won't take the grid, he's there for admin. So 7 cars in this race. Who's going to make it through to the final? We'll find out very, very soon as this green flag here in the last chance qualifier. Last race of the night before the final. And Dane Warren has got a beautiful start off the line. Brodie Whitmore has got an awful start for him. He's down to third already. Shannon Mason looking to possibly make a move on him as well. So it's Dane Warren who will lead them through. Then Emily Jones, Brodie Whitmore is down to third in the box seat now to try and get through into second spot. Oh, Shannon Mason going very wide there, managing to keep out of trouble though as he follows through. Brodie Whitmore in fourth. Now Zach Radich is in fifth, looking on the inside of Shannon Mason, nearly collecting the tyre barrier there as well. Brodie Whitmore getting a bit tardy there on the inside as Zach nearly getting contact there with Shannon, but just pulls it up in time for driving there. Then it's Jamie McKnight in sixth, and running out of field right now is Luke Meyer in seventh. So good start there for Dane, and looks like Dane and Emily taking the joker. So is Brodie, shows Shannon, so is Zach. So the only two who didn't were Meyer and Jamie McKnight, but everybody else has got that first joker done. So this is looking like a good race we've got on our hands here, Cam, because we know Brodie's got pace, and he will be very, very keen to try and get back in the second spot.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got some very good pace, and it's been shown in qualifying, so we know he's got some decent pace and that he can possibly even get through into second or first, as he's just about had contact there. But he's definitely got some pace, so it'll be interesting to see what happens, although Emily Jones and Dane Warren are both pulling away quite quickly from Brodie Whitmore, so he'll have to really be careful and make sure he doesn't actually make too many mistakes.
Yeah, for sure. Shannon Mason nearly drew back at Brodie there. I don't think Shannon was quite, I don't think Brodie made it as clear as, or made it terribly clear for Shannon that he was taking the joker. Took it there at the last minute potentially, and Shannon just nearly drilled him there. It was very close, but in the end they managed to get through that contact. But Dane Warren is leading the way. He's just got to keep it clean. He's got the pace. He's in the prime spot. He just needs to stay out of trouble, keep it on the straight and narrow, and he will through the final. Obviously, easy for us to say here in the comms booth, not so easy when you're out on track. So it's all to do for him. Emily Jones looking solid in second, but Brodie's closed in this lap. The pace has come back a bit, looks like. Looking a bit smoother here as Dane takes his second joker lap now, and that's him done for the jokers. Obviously just trying to get clear and get in some clean air and stay out of trouble in that battle for second. Brodie was a little bit slower actually on that last lap. Oh yeah, we're going to spin at the back as Radich. Oh, nearly contact there with Luke Meyer. That's probably an onboard to see. Oh, he got so close to hitting him. Oh my goodness, I think that might, if we want a Cup Price Racing replay, I think we want to go on board with Luke Meyer, because he got so close to getting contact with Zach. It looks like it was another case of the joker. Jamie McKnight took his jokers, come out alongside Zach Radich, and they both come together as their lines have clashed into the chicane. A common theme we've seen throughout the night, and then Zach's nearly joined into Luke, but managed to avoid contact in the end. But that's strung out the rear of the field quite substantially. And it's down to 4. It's actually Shannon Mason up for third now as he's taking his joker, jumped Brodie Whitmore, and he's in the hunt for P2 possibly. As Dane Warren just slowly stretching away, but this battle for second and third is looking really juicy right now, Cam.
Yeah, it definitely is. It looks like Emily Jones is actually falling back a little bit from Dan Warren here. So I'm not exactly sure what's happened in the past lap, but that's definitely allowed Brodie Whitmore and Shannon Mason to catch up and possibly even have a chance at getting into the feature race.
For sure, yeah. I mean, her pace has been really consistent. Done a 41.5, 4. We'll see what a lap is now. It's a 41.9. So yeah, that lap a little bit slower than what she's been doing. It was a 42 flat from Shannon, a 42.2 from Brodie. So it was still quicker than the 2 cars behind her, but it's getting very close in this battle for second. As we said, this is a crucial battle for that last spot in the final. Mason and Whitmore will be really keen, pushing as hard as they can to make that final grid. Oh, Emily Jones really chucking it in to the hairpin. Maybe a little bit too much there, just washed off maybe slightly too much speed. But Shannon has got the eyes on right now. He looks really keen to go for that second spot. Brodie's dropped off a little bit, but he's still there. And Luke Meyer further back is probably a little bit too far back now to challenge, unless these their competitors have some issues. As Emily Jones takes her second Joker lap. That's her done for the Jokers. Mason and Whitmore have also taken theirs. So it's now going to be a straight fight to the end. And actually Jones, thanks to taking that Joker and saving it, is now closed right up to Dane. And they've got a nice little buffer back to Shannon Mason. So as long as she keeps it nice and steady, she should be safe in second. But as we've seen, we keep seeing tonight, you just never know in Rallycross.
Yeah, absolutely. That Joker's definitely helped Emily, but got it. You really, really can't say what's actually going to become of this race at the end. So, going to be really interesting to see whether Shannon Mason and Brodie Whitmore can catch back up to Emily Jones, or whether Emily's actually going to be able to catch up to Dane and hold on, and even possibly even get by Dane.
For sure, yeah. And Shannon, 41.2 on lap 6, so that pace is there for sure. The last one was a 42.3, though. Off on that last lap, and actually Brodie was slightly faster, so the pace is there, but not quite seeming to be able to do it as consistently as the people in front. Dane Warren, though, continuing to lead, has been pumping out mid to high 41s all race long, and doing exactly what he needs to do to ensure his place in the final at the moment, as Emily Jones sitting nicely in second at the moment. Shannon Mason, though, and Brodie Whitmore there. If they have any mistakes, they will be able to pounce. I think actually Zach Radich as well made a move on Jamie McKnight back there for P6. That fight more for bragging rights at this point than anything else, as they'll both be knocked out at this phase, as we have 2 laps to go. Dane Warren is leading the way and has been doing all race. Has been holding that lead, keeping it steady, and looking pretty good. And Jay just mentioning in our chat here, just mentioning about how much Dane is using the handbrake. I was noticing it too in the earlier heat, in that he seems to use the handbrake probably more than some of the other drivers do. And as I think Josh mentioned in the interview before, it's quite surprising how straight these cars actually like to be driven, and sliding isn't always the way to go, even on the gravel, which is a bit of a surprise, but something I guess you got to get used to, isn't it, Cam?
Yeah, definitely. With them being wheel drive, it's a little bit of a different technique to driving them. You've kind of got to position it so that you can come off the corner real well, but you've kind of not got to plant it like you would in a real wheel drive car, like a supercar or Porsche or whatever maybe you're driving, because of the fact that wherever all 4 wheels are going, pointing is usually the direction the car will want to go, and due to the fact that it's all-wheel drive. So you've kind of got to roll it through the corner on entry, and then once you get onto the exits, put the power down so you can get right out of the corner.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely something that's been interesting. But what has been fascinating to watch this race is Dane Warren taking the win in this heat. He goes to the line, takes the barrier, and that's his way of ending the race there. Nice finish for Dane. So he takes the win here in the last chance qualifier that sees him through into the final here for the first round of OSR's Rallycross Championship. So Dane Warren takes the win. A nice controlled win, I think. He probably had more on the table there, but just kept it nice and steady. Did what he needed to do to get to the final, which is all you need to do in these last chance qualifiers. Emily Jones ends up... Actually, what has happened there? We've had a... Oh, yeah. Gee. There you go. So Jay just mentioning... There you go. Yeah, there you go. Dane jump start, which explains why he got the start he did, and gets a jump start penalty, which means that he ends up 4th in this race. Explains why he drilled the tyre barrier explains why he jammed the tyre barrier there at the end. Apparently saying he reckons he crossed the line on the Joker, which is what gave it to him. But that now means that Dane Warren is out of this evening of racing, won't make it to the final, and that means Emily Jones takes the win here for the last chance qualifier. She's through to the final. Shannon Mason jumping for joy with that. He gets through to the final as well. And then we've got Brody Whitmore just misses out in third, with Dane Warren ending up fourth, Luke Meyer in fifth, Zach Radich in sixth, and Jamie McKnight rounds out your finishes for this last chance qualifier. And, well, I mean, I think that penalty there at the end, that mix-up of the results kind of shows what it's been like tonight, hasn't it, Cam? It's just been so unpredictable. It's been near impossible to judge how this has all been able to unfold.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been no way you can say it's been predictable, and it's certainly made it so that it's not over till the fat lady sings. So, yeah, that's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens in this final race, and it's definitely going to go off, and I can't wait.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be an absolutely spectacular final here tonight. So we'll just quickly, before we go to the break, just go through the list of finalists. So it's Michael Healy, Wayne C. Burke, Scotty Harris, Daniel Ackland, Joshua K. Rogers, Richard Hampstead, Cam J. Taylor, Luca Jackaman, Emily Jones, and Shannon Mason are your finalists here tonight for the first round of OSR's Rallycross series here at Daytona Long. We'll take a short break now, and when we come back, we will have the final race of the night. It should be an absolute cracker. Just hang around for it. You will not want to miss it, that's for sure. And we'll be back in just a moment.
Hi guys, Scott Speed here, welcoming you to the Volkswagen Beetle GRC car here in iRacing. It is so fun. Wanted to give you guys some pointers around the track here. This is the actual track that we drove in Daytona. It looks unbelievable. When you see the footage from the onboard of the actual track, it's crazy how similar they got it. Give you some tips on the car. First thing you're gonna notice is this thing is a 2-liter turbo engine that has over 600 horsepower. And it is geared for acceleration. So you're gonna go through the gearbox very quickly. That's the first thing you know. As soon as you leave the pits, you're gonna be like, wow. You're just gonna have to upshift gears very rapidly. And then you're gonna get on the brakes for the first time, and you're gonna notice this big momentum shift as the car is gonna lean over, it's gonna have a ton of weight transfer, and that's because we run really soft springs in this thing to get the traction that you're gonna need in the dirt. Once you get through the first corner, you're probably going to realize that as soon as you touch the throttle, it doesn't really want to turn anymore. You've got to be aware that four-wheel drive likes to stop very quickly and it likes to go very quickly. It doesn't like to corner so much. To the first corner, you definitely want to wait until you're kind of straight to get on the gas, and that'll bring you up to the really fun section. And you get to experience dirt in a four-wheel drive rally car for the first time, and it's incredible. The thing you're going to notice is that the car wants to just continue going in whatever direction it started in. So when you approach these corners, you're really going to have to turn quite before the corner, very early, and the car is going to develop this momentum to it. It's still very important to hit the apex and to be very tidy and clean, but you're going to have to do that with the momentum of the car. And then you got this nice jump that is really fun. One thing to keep in mind when you're in the air is if you hit the brakes, the front end will come down. If you hit the gas, the front end will come up a little bit. So you got to control, kind of like an airplane, the pitch of the car in the air so you're kind of flying straight. And as soon as you land here, you're going to want to start heading left. You're going to give it a big input and start it sliding to the left. And you're just going to be constantly trying to slow this thing down to make this corner, because it's very, very slippery and it's a very tight corner. And the preferred line, believe it or not, is still going to be right here at the apex. Once you get out of here, the next couple corners are relatively simple, typical tarmac corners. Not a lot to these stuff. This is all flat out. And yeah, let's see what a full lap looks like.
Welcome back to V8's Online for the final time before we go to the final. The session's up. We're gearing up to go for what, as we've been saying during the break, it's going to be absolutely, as I go for the coin term because I think it's going to be really accurate here. It will be a crazy bonkers race. The degree to how much we will soon see, but I think it'll be pretty extreme on the scale. Before we go to qualifying, we're going to have a quick chat though with Shannon Mason, who snuck in to the final there, thanks to Dane Warren's penalty. I mean, Shannon, how's it feel for you just getting through the final? It's just doing that alone with the field we've had is an awesome achievement.
Yeah, I'm completely blown away. That last race I couldn't keep up with Emily or Dane, so yeah, just completely blown away that I made it.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, is this? I've been noticing throughout the night, your pace has been really, really good in these cars. Do they suit your sort of driving style a bit more than some other cars do?
Yeah, I find an all-wheel drive car is just so much easier. You just point it and squirt, and yeah, that's where you go.
For sure, yeah. And I mean, it's as fields has been a bit interesting seeing the difference in form, because as we've seen with the way these cars are, the form guide is just completely in the air. We have no idea where everyone is really. So I mean, it's been a bit interesting to see where people have been placed throughout tonight.
Yeah, well, through practice the past couple of weeks, I've been up the pointy end, but over the course of a 2-hour session, the track wear and everything like that kicks in. So, with the fresh tracks, it's extremely hard to get the grip. So, yeah, I'm surprised that I'm as quick as I am. So, there's a lot of people out there that are slower than what they should be. So, it's quite surprising.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess to round off, as I always do, I have to ask with everybody else, is Daytona one favourite you've tried of the RallyCross track so far, or one of the other ones kind of been a bit more to your preference?
Well, I haven't tried Lucas Oils yet, so I'm keen to try that one out, but Daytona Long's easily my favourite. So
yeah, fair enough. Yes,
I did a couple of practice laps earlier through the week, and I pretty much got the second fastest time in the world. So
there you go. Yeah, so stamping your authority in the RallyCross. So again, well done on making it through the final, Shannon, and good luck for the race ahead.
thank you, mate.
No worries at all. I'll be secretly betting for you. No team bias at all. So yeah, we are now in the session for the final. I'm showing a 10-lap race too, so I'm not sure if if there's an error there, or if maybe it has been shortened, because this event has been going for a while, and has been run very well. Credit to Simon's done an awesome job with it, but obviously the format does mean that there is a lot of admin work involved with getting the sessions up and the like. So that may be why we maybe have a shorter race here for the final. Again, big thanks to Shannon Mason there popping in. Obviously, in Pro Force Racing there here in RallyCross in the final. For the 10 cars in the final, I'll go through the TTL boys are doing some drilling into each of their cars at the moment, but we'll quickly go through the field we have before we go to qualifying. So the field is as follows. We have Michael Healy, Wayne Seaburg, Scotty Harris, Daniel Ackland, Joshua K. Rogers, Richard Hamstead, Cam J. Taylor. One to watch, I think, Cam, for being a potential dark horse, because as I said, in that heat he was in, he didn't have, there was no slouches in that heat, and he managed to get into the podium. So I wouldn't have passed him to be up there, fighting towards the front potentially if things go his way. Luca Jackerman, Emily Jones, and Shannon Mason round out your field in this final. And it looks like it will be a 10-lap race, so not quite the length that we thought was, but still should be a cracking 10 laps, Cam. This should be really, I think this could well be the perfect icing on what has been a very juicy and succulent cake tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be one heck of a show, I reckon, with the guys we've got in here tonight. And yeah, it could be anyone's guess as to who's going to win it.
For sure, yeah. So we'll see how we go in this race. Change up to the Beetle for this race. So trying something different in the final. Maybe see if he can get any more pace in this one. There we go. So 10 laps race. Reasoning for that is the servers go down in 20 minutes. I think iRacing doing an update. So kind of been forced for time here. So it's down to 10 lapper. Been so much exciting race tonight. I think it's been well worth the wait and the length of time. So no problem there. Still could be and should be a absolute cracker of a race. It's just gonna make that desperation even more prominent, because you've now only got 10 laps to make those moves and get the win. So should be an absolute juicy final we have on our hands here. So first laps are in. Michael Healy currently the fastest on a 41.154. Oh, but look at that. Yeah, Rogers goes, you know what? That's not really quite up there, because he does a 40.567. He's been doing 40.5s, 40.6s all day, all night long. And he's just popped one in again here as his first lap in qualifying. I think he's got one more lap to go to try and improve on that time, although I don't know if he'll need to. But we'll soon see. Healy's put in some really stonking laps throughout the night. Let's see what he can do here on, I believe, his last, or no, he's still got one more lap after this. He does a 40.7 on that lap, and that's actually it for him. So there you go. So he's done his laps. It is an improvement, but not enough to jump Rogers. Rogers coming around now. Will he improve again, just to add more salt into that wound? Will he do it? No, I think he got a cut track. Yeah, got a cut track, so it's all over there. So looking around, Scotty Harris on I think his final lap. He's on 41.2 so far. Comes around the last corner, looking pretty clean there out of that last corner. Is an improvement? It's not, so he stays in third spot for now, but now just pipped, by Richard Hamstead. Goes to 41.1. Luca Jackerman on the screen now. He's got one more lap to go. He's doing his last one now. 41.3 is his best. He finds about 2 or 3 tenths. He jumps onto third, and as we've seen, it's going to be crucial for getting that jump and getting clear of the pack behind and try and get a really solid result in this first round of the championship. Let's have a look as he comes into the hairpin. Nice and clean, very, very smooth, very straight driving from Luca. Is it going to translate to lap time? It is indeed. A 41.195 puts him 4th place in a really nice spot to have a good run here in this final. So let's go through the grid then, I suppose, for the grand final, the main events of tonight's racing here. 10 laps, 2 jokers here at Daytona long. Who will come out on top? It really could be anyone's game with Rallycross. You just never know how it will go. So Joshua Rogers is going to be on pole with a 40.567, with Michael Healy in second on a 40.766. Richard Hamstead puts in a 41.132 for third spot. As we've said, the broadcast here just needs to work and probably get a little more pace in qualifying, as Richard himself said, and he'd be right up there with the likes of Healy. So here, though, still puts him third spot, so still puts him in a good spot to have a good shout here in this race. Luca Jackerman is going to be in 41.195. Scotty Harris in 5th with 41.219. Wayne C. Burke, good strong quality from him with the 41.237. Daniel Ackland to 41.541 for 7th. Emily Jones in 8th with the 41.696. Cam J. Taylor, as I mentioned, probably a little bit of a dark horse to maybe watch throughout this race with the 41.878. Then Shannon Mason rounds out your field with the 42.26. So I'll tell you what, Cam, we are on for a absolute cracker race. As we said, there the server's going down in 20 minutes. It's going to force this to be a little bit of a shorter final, but I think in the end it's just going to make the racing even more exciting because the desperation is probably just going to be amplified even more here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a cracker of a race, and guys are just going to absolutely send it, I reckon. It's going to be all on the line, and no one's going to care. It's actually Larry, win it or pin it, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think the packages are going to be being thrown everywhere, not just sent. They'll be absolutely pelted down the inside of these corners throughout this final. It's going to be an absolute cracking way to end this first night of OSR of RallyCross. Hope you guys have enjoyed the broadcast so far. Has been going for a while, but I think it's been worth it. We've had some awesome racing tonight, so it's been a great fun to call, and hopefully that's translated to watching for you guys. Again, if you want more of the stuff that we do here at V8's Online, of course, follow the YouTube. We've been doing Twitch as well recently. Also, obviously, streaming to Facebook. We've got the Facebook page as well, so be sure to give them a follow and like if you want to keep up to date with everything we do and broadcasting here at V8's Online. So the grid is about to be formed, and we're about to go racing for the final. I'm just teeming with excitement here because this is all the signs of absolute cracker. So the grid is formed, the lights are coming on, we're good to go. It's the final for round 1 of OSR Rallycross. Who's it going to be as the lights go on and are now out? We're green flag here for the final OSR round 1, and who's that is? Joshua Rogers up the inside, I believe. Is going to possibly get Healy. Is he into turn 1? Oh, it's contact between Healy and dead. Oh, he's got it though. Rogers, though, is straight through into the lead. That's beautiful for him. Jacobman's into third as well. Great start from him. He's right on Richard Hampstead's bumper as they go over the jump. Oh, nearly twisting in the air. I think behind them, Scotty Harris getting a bit feisty there with Wayne C. Burke, but they all seem to get through relatively unscathed. But Joshua Rogers has got the dream start there. Hampstead getting into a bit of contact behind has helped him out big time, and Richard's now probably going to be for anything. A bit of a rear gunner now for his teammate as you've got the likes of Jackaman, Healy, Scotty Harris, Burke, all these drivers behind. Very quick steerers in these Rallycross cars, and they're all going to be coming for that win as we see a lot of the front guys taking the Joker lap early. A couple not though, a few of them holding on to try and save that for later on in the race.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be... Make sure you don't get held up in any sort of traffic, because that's the last thing you want to be doing, have happen, especially with the fact if you're at the front of the field. So it's going to be all about making sure you time that Joker to perfection and not making any mistakes anywhere else.
Sure, yeah. So the battle for the back's actually quite nice here for P5-6 as well, or P6 with Wayne Burke and Emily Jones. Cam J. Taylor's in there as well. I think Emily looking to come through the field. She has the pace to be top 5 for sure, I think. So I think the pace is there to make the move. But obviously having the pace to make the move and making the move are two different things entirely. But Ackland takes the Joker. I think that's his first one as he jumps now Scotty Harris in that exchange. It is indeed. So he's got one more Joker to do. That does put him ahead of Harris, but Harris has yet to do any Jokers. So he's got 2 potential push to pass, we'll call them, overtaking tokens in his hands to use on the cars ahead. And they're not too far off Michael Healy, who's not really been able to hang on to the top 3. Joshua Rogers is absolutely flying down the road from Richard Hampstead. Luca Jackaman, though, is following suit. And again, with Luca, with his off-road background, Rallycross is just his forte, as Beau Albert was saying earlier on. And it's no surprise he's being able to hold off the back of these two. But does he have enough to take the challenge to Hampstead? We'll soon see as Scotty Harris takes his Joker. Jumps Michael Healy. So this battle for P4 is quite juicy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very close, and it's probably bound to get even closer as we get into the later stages of this race. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Jackaman's going to have for Hampstead in the later part.
Sure, yeah. So I think this battle for the one that we'll keep an eye on now because it's the closest one on track, and it's a very important one. Very important points on the line here. Get a really nice start to your campaign for this season. As Scotty Harris coming down now. I think they're both going to take the Joker. They are. Michael Healy follows them through. That's going to be both the drivers have now done both their Jokers. They're out of overtaking tokens now for the rest of the race, whereas Wayne Seaburg behind them has one left. And that might help him, because if these two start getting to each other, he may have a chance of coming back at them with that Joker lap. And then Emily Jones is just behind. She's yet to take any Jokers. So all this could come together very, very closely at the end, Cam. We might have a really big battle of almost 4 or 5 cars for that third spot.
Yeah, absolutely. As I've just seen Michael Healy go by Scotty Harris, who just made a bit of a mistake there just before, and it allowed Healy to capitalise. So he now moves up into fourth position, sorry.
Indeed, good stuff there from Michael Healy. Puts him back in front of Scotty, and as I said, Scotty Harris has done as there's one. Oh, takes his Joker.
Ahead of him.
Yeah, he's coming out ahead of him. That was the Joker I was talking about. He saved it up. And I guess the mistake from those two and the little bit of battling they did has helped him out. It did look like, though, he got awfully close to the blend line, and we saw Dane Warren got pinged with a penalty for that. I'm not sure whether exactly the fine details of what counts as crossing the blend line, but I hope for Wayne's sake a tyre isn't enough, because I'm sure I saw a tyre go over the line there when he rejoined. So I hope for his sake he doesn't get a penalty for that. But either way, he's P5 for now, trying to chase down Michael Healy as we look ahead. The top three still pretty stable, with Joshua Rogers still leading right now. Richard Hampstead second, Luca Jackaman third. They're all keeping a pretty similar gap. There's Michael Healy, Wayne Seaburg and Scotty Harris in this really nice battle for P4 with Emily Jones not far behind. Cam J. Taylor sits in P8 with Shannon Mason in 9th, and then Daniel Ackland currently rounds out your field in 10th spot. Good to see that all the drivers still going around at the moment. No retirements just yet, as we're about to come over for 3 laps to go in this final. So, well, I'll tell you what, I think that battle for 4th could be really, really close, Cam, because there's a few cars there who haven't used their Joker or have, who could be in a spot to really gain these last few laps.
Yeah, absolutely. Healy's just checked out from those two, and with Emily Jones yet to use her Jokers as well, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how that plays out.
For sure, yeah, some potential shenanigans ensuring in the final few laps, if it all, depending on how it all pans out, really. I think Emily is in the prime spot. She could get a 5th here. I mean, she's been consistently banging in the laps behind Wayne and Scotty, keeping them in touch. We've seen that if the Joker's round about 2 seconds is the gain you get from the Joker lap, and she's really in a good spot right now to possibly take them both, at least take one of them, I think, because it looks like actually Wayne Burks just put the hammer down a bit, just closing back in on Michael Healy a little bit in the last lap or so. 2 laps to go now. Joshua Rogers looking good here to take the win in round 1 as Hampstead behind hits the tyre barrier, and Luca does as well. And that's actually put the...
And Emily's just gone by on, I think that was Eklund.
Yeah, it was. Good stuff. Yeah, good spot there from Jay.
No, Scotty Harris, sorry.
Yeah, Scotty Harris. Yeah, it was the Joker lap. So Emily's taken one of the Jokers, and that has got a 1 net position just on Harris, just rejoined ahead of him, and that is a net spot. So she's got 1 more Joker, and in fact she may take them both. If Healy and Burke battle like they almost are at the moment, Healy just seemed to have slowed up in the last couple of laps, then Emily Jones might well be on for a P4 here as they come through. She'll probably take it this lap. She's either going to have to take it this lap or the next. Is she going to do it now? No, she's not. She's going to save for the last lap. Yeah, that's probably a good point, though. She's got clean air right now, so she may as well use it and hope that she can jump ahead of them on that last lap.
Yeah, absolutely. If she can get a good run this lap, she'll have a very, very good opportunity to possibly get inside that top 5.
For sure, yeah. And I was going to say Burke and Healy are really close. Healy's
great.
Oh, yeah, Burke. Oh, yeah.
Oh, she's hit the high bundle.
Oh, yeah, she has. She's dropped back. All heavy damage as well, the front right. Yeah, Rogers is about to take the win here for this first round of OSR. Joshua Rogers, who is your winner quite convincingly in the end over Richard Hampstead, who takes second. TTL 1-2 with ERT going to take the last spot on the podium with Luca Jackaman. A good solid drive from him. Michael Healy does hold on to P4 from Wayne C. Burke in 5th. Scotty Harris does end up being P6 as he takes the jump and nearly flies over the barrier there to finish off, but a good result for him in 6th. Emily Jones does end up P7. Going to be a bit disappointed with that as she is probably on for a potential top 5 until that contact with the tyre barrier, but still good result with good solid points in the final. Cam J. Taylor ends up in P8, a pretty quiet race for him in 8th spot, but again, good solid drive. Daniel Ackland ends up P9, and Shannon Mason rounds out your field in P10. So there you go. There are your results for the final of round 1 of OSR RallyCross, and I think just in time for the serves to go down as well. So good timing. So yeah, that was a interesting final, Cam. I think it was a bit cleaner maybe than I was expecting. We didn't have any retirement, which is good to see, but some good close battling I think to round off the night.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an awesome night of racing. We've seen all sorts going on, from carnage to people sending it to a little bit of bumping and rubbing to general good racing. So it's been an absolutely awesome night of racing, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the series is actually going to put up in terms of what kind of racing we're going to expect.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as we saw there, we've seen everything tonight. We saw someone get launched off the jump there with a car stopped in the middle, and I was waiting for when we'd eventually see that. I thought it'd take a bit longer maybe than the first round, but seen in the first round, seen a car go flying from the jump. But no, been an awesome night of racing here tonight. And yeah, big thanks, of course, to Simon Black and the guys at OSR for the admin of the series and running it tonight. Obviously, the format, a lot of admin work involved in getting it all sorted, and it was run very nicely indeed. And I think they're reflected in the racing as well. Thanks to Cut Price it's the Cut Price Racing. I can't even speak English right now. That's how much excitement there's been. But yeah, that's been your Cut Price Racing Rallycross series there, round 1 of the series at Daytona Long. We'll be back next week for round 2, and that will be our last broadcast of 2017. So I'm sure that we'll have a great show put on to round off, not just for the second round, and also to round off this year and bring us into the new year and the new season. All sorts of excitement and the all that going on. Obviously, on the weekend we've got Blank Plane series to look forward to. I'm sure Jay and Reese, and I might even see if I tag along again. We'll see, depending on what I'm doing. But we have that broadcast this weekend. If you like your GT3s, be sure to come along for that. Should be a bundle of fun. And there'll be a second last broadcast before, of course, more CPR Rallycross next weekend to round us off the year. And again, as I said last night, lots of very exciting stuff coming your way here at V8s Online next year. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, on the YouTube, doing Twitch as well, all sorts of different platforms. Be sure to give us a follow if you want to keep an eye on what we're doing for next year and the new year. Big thanks to Cameron Dance. Been awesome commentating with you again, Cam, and super exciting. Obviously, massive excitement tonight. I've been Thomas Innes to lead you through tonight's racing. Big thanks, as always, to Jay Kennedy, who's been doing all of the action behind the scenes, showing you all the graphics, giving you all the footage that you've seen on your screens here tonight. And yeah, I guess we'll see you on the weekend. Till then, it's for me and the rest of the crew here at V8s Online. It's bye for now.
You